What's up, guys? Welcome back for another episode of the Max Off-Road Podcast. This one was very special. Justin Morgan is a certified hoss and a Baja slayer. This guy has some crazy stats. He's won Baja every year since 2017, and he's got an ISDE gold medal, and now he's starting to transition into truck driving Polaris Razors. And he's just such a cool guy to talk to, and he has so much knowledge and wisdom. So this was a very special podcast. There's lots of good stuff in here, life wisdom, and just overall good stories. So I hope you guys like this podcast. Before we get the ball rolling, quick shout out to our sponsors. First and foremost, Beta Motorcycles. Beta Motorcycles are my choice motorcycle. The 300RR Race Edition is everything that I want in a motorcycle. I'm actually racing a 250 in ISDE this year, but the 300 is like the premier bike. It's a carbureted 300 two-stroke engine. The chassis is good, KYB suspensions, everything on it is dialed. That's my favorite bike. Beta USA. Thank you, guys. Slavensracing.com. These guys have a full staff of certified hosses that are ready to help you with all of your retail needs. They have nitro mousses, Plus tires, bulletproof designs, protective equipment, SXS skid plates. They have all my favorite products that are needed for all your enduro needs, and a staff of people ready to help you and ship them out the same day. So slavensracing.com, certified hoss, my preferred retailer. Go get it. Bulletproof designs, made in the USA, billet aluminum protective equipment for your dirt bike. This one's a no-brainer. Honestly, I really don't like working on my dirt bikes, and for hard enduro especially, the shit gets fucked up. Crash, you bend stuff, you break stuff. So I just want to work on my bike less. And these guys actually help with that a lot. And if you do bend or break one of their parts, it's guaranteed. So you can send it in and they'll send you a new one. So Bulletproof Designs, thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, Plus tires. These guys have been huge. They're a new tire company out of the UK. This guy is like some sort of tire compound savant, and he comes up with these great tires, and they work really good. Thanks a lot. I hope you like this episode. Justin Morgan, welcome to the podcast, brother.
Thanks for having me.
I'm stoked that you're here. We just got done with a sick little dirt bike ride. What'd you think of Arizona?
It was a great experience. It was a good group of people we went and rode with, and the terrain is like completely different mile to mile out here, so it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, we went from like rocky single track to flowy single track to rocky washes and everything in between.
Yeah, definitely.
A little wildlife adventure today. We got to see deer, two Gila monsters, and a rattlesnake.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. I'd never seen a Gila monster before, so.
Do they have those in Mexico or California?
Not that I know of, but yeah, I don't think so.
AZ only?
Yeah, it's a pretty AZ experience.
The only thing that would have made it better was if we found a desert tortoise.
Yeah, I haven't seen one of those. I'm out here at least.
We got a pocket out there, like that little hard enduro zone we're in, with all those like canyons and like hard stone carved out canyons, basically.
Yeah.
Dude, that's like desert tortoise haven.
Yeah, we missed them.
I've seen a few in there. Me and Taylor seen a few in there. Like, we have one hill out there called Turtle Hill because we got to the top one time when we saw this tortoise at the top, and this tortoise was just he like walked down this hill. You know, those hills get like grooved out like this. He like walked into that groove, tucked his hands in, and slid down this thing. Did a couple of rolls and flips all the way to the bottom. We're like, what is this tortoise doing? Because if he lands upside down, not good for him.
Yeah,
that's it. There's literally a tortoise shell, dead, empty, dried out at the top, upside down.
Oh no!
Like, bro,
that's wild.
These desert tortoises are stuck in 4-wheel drive at all times.
Yeah, low range.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Have you seen any, like, what's the most insane animal you've seen in Baja?
In Baja, I see a lot of bobcats.
Really?
Which is kind of unique, I guess. When you're pre-running alone or something, you'll just be like waking up the trail, So a lot of deer, a lot of bobcats, a lot of cows, but yeah, coyotes, stuff like that.
Have you seen a mountain lion?
I haven't. Not
Really?
in Baja, no.
Anywhere else?
Yeah, in the United States, a couple times, really rarely, but not on a dirt bike.
They're like the ultimate predator.
Yeah, they're next level.
I'm so blown away by mountain lions for some reason.
Yeah,
It's like fascinated by them.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more than people think.
I think so too. They say wherever there's deer, there's lion.
Yeah, I heard they eat like as much as 3 deer a week in the summertime.
What?
Yeah, I've heard that, but I don't know if
In the
it's true.
summertime?
Yeah, they eat a lot.
They ramp it up
Because they have to kill. They don't like to eat spoiled meat, so they like to have the fresh stuff.
They're
so
bougie like that.
Yeah, they got to get the fresh all the time.
I guess I can't blame them for that.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
As long as there's an abundance of deer.
Yeah,
then,
I don't know how that works.
I mean, you just have to be a good hunter, and if you're a deer, a good listener.
Yeah, fast.
Because they're quiet.
Yeah.
I mean, if a cat wants to be silent, I mean, you could look at a house cat. You see them like they'll hop up on this table and walk around completely silent.
Yeah. No, they're just a big version of that.
What's your favorite animal?
Favorite animal? I'd probably say dog.
Dog?
Yeah, I'm a dog guy.
Just because it's dog.
They're the best.
What about like your favorite wild animal?
Wild animal. Oof. I don't know. I see a lot of rattlesnakes. I think they're pretty cool. I have to kill a few here and there, but I think they're pretty cool animals.
They are cool.
They're interesting. They're in crazy places, and they're definitely not endangered. I mean, they survive really well. So
That one we saw today, it looked pretty healthy.
yeah, it was ready to go. Probably just coming out for the summer.
Yeah. I was actually kind of surprised to see it because it seemed like kind of a cool day for them, but
yeah, I see them pretty often where I work. So it's, even early April and early in the morning, you'll see them.
they seem to really flourish down there.
Yeah, it's crazy.
San Diego area,
Yeah.
California,
Must be a lot to eat down there.
lots to eat, chickens, eggs, rodents everywhere.
Yeah, no, tons of rodents. And then in the avocado trees, it's like a perfect habitat for them. So we see them quite a bit.
Lots of good shade.
Yeah, shade, water, when it's hot. They don't like to get super hot, so.
Yeah, and the rodents probably eat the avocados and the oranges and all that.
Yeah, and then like right now all the squirrels are having babies and, all kinds of stuff running around, so.
A baby squirrel would probably be like gold mine for a rattlesnake.
For sure.
Tender,
Yeah.
still.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hasn't gotten gamey yet.
Yeah, perfect. Get one of those a day.
What's the most amount of snakes you've seen at the ranch in a day?
In a day, I've seen 4 in a day, I think. But yeah, it's pretty rare.
The biggest one.
I don't know. A lot of people exaggerate. You see a snake, you kind of tend to
Like,
exaggerate.
"It's 8 feet long."
Yeah, it's definitely not 8 feet long. Yeah, if you see a Pacific rattlesnake that's 4 feet long,
That's rare.
they'll usually have like 12 rattles. Like it's full grown, So yeah, the westerns get a little bigger, but yeah.
The timber rattlers are the ones that get really big, right?
Yeah, I've never seen one of those.
Those things get like that big around.
Yeah, and there's ones in Texas that get huge too. So
Is it the timber rattlers or is it like a western diamondback?
I think it's a different one. Timber's, I think, up north, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, you do not want to get bit by a rattlesnake.
Yeah, no.
Do you know anybody that's been?
I don't think I know anybody who's been bit, but I know, you'll probably survive it if you get to the hospital, but I'm sure you'll be messed up, like your nerves, and I would not want to be bit by one, and I'm kind of surprised I haven't.
Do you ever pick them up?
No.
That's where you draw the line.
No, I'm not much of a snake picker.
Not much of a Steve Irwin.
No, I don't pick them up, no.
Yeah, I think stay away from the rattlesnakes. Other snakes pick up, but rattlesnakes.
Yeah, that's a different. You're playing with fire at that point.
With fire, and unless you're like skilled expertise.
Yeah, I guess, but I mean, yeah, why do it? I mean,
exactly. You're just asking for it.
Yeah,
I had a buddy that pissed on one in like 3rd grade, and then he tried to pick it up with his piss on it, probably.
That's pretty bad.
And it bit him.
Did he survive? Like,
yeah.
obviously he survived.
Oh, yeah, he survived, but his fingers all like...
Dang.
Yeah, it was...
3rd grade?
Yeah, or 4th or something. It was bad.
Yeah.
And then my
that's a crazy
cousin
kid.
Chase actually in Colorado got bit by a Mojave like in their backyard, in the grass in their backyard, and it almost killed him. Almost killed him because he's allergic to horses, and they use they like grow anti-venom in horses or something.
Oh.
Like that's how they make it. Something to do with horses. He's allergic to horses, so he couldn't take anti-venom.
Oh my God.
So he just had to soak it up and wait.
Just tough it out.
He was like black and blue, like from his neck down, I guess.
I had a dog that had gotten bit 5 times. And
5 times?
Yeah. But he would actually get him that he would catch him without getting bit too. He'd show up with him dead and stuff. So he was like a 115-pound pit bull.
Could he soak it up?
Yeah, he was fine. Yeah, he would just lay around for a couple of days and swell up real big, and he lived to be like almost 15 years old too.
Maybe that's the secret.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
Maybe that's Larry Ragland's secret.
Yeah,
One rattlesnake bite every 10 years.
Yeah. He's still killing it.
Pushing. That's how he can still see at 100 miles an hour in Baja at 82 years old.
Yeah, no, he's 82. That's insane. I mean, yeah, next level.
What a savage.
Yeah, or maybe it's just living around here and drinking the water or swimming in Green River or something.
Maybe. Or just like enjoying something so much that you always want to do it.
Yeah, and I think he got started late too, so he didn't get burned out. That guy's a legend.
But then like getting started late there's definitely, not getting burnt out, but then there's also like the fundamental building blocks that when in your developmental years that are so important as well. Like look at these Strider kids, for example. Look how good the 250 class is right now of Supercross.
It's like cheating. It's like walking for them. So.
Exactly. It's complete second nature.
Yeah. No, I'm very lucky to have started on motorcycles pretty early.
When did you start?
When I was about 5. Yeah. So
what was your first bike
before that? PW50. I still have it.
Really?
Yeah. It's pretty sweet.
I
think it's an 86. Yeah. Yellow.
Everybody either started on one of those or like I started on a JR.
Yeah. That's comparable. But yours had gears though, huh?
I honestly don't remember.
You just stick it in one gear and go,
yeah.
probably.
I don't know if it mattered then.
Yeah. Yeah. You're just going for it.
Yeah, exactly. Did your dad get you into it? How did you get into it?
My dad definitely supported me in it. He was into it, but he wasn't like a racer or anything. Uncles, mom was supportive, I just thought it was really cool. It's a good time to be exposed to motorcycles.
And what was the exposure to motorcycles that made you want to ride a dirt bike?
At first, I don't know, maybe just, videos, magazines. Like my uncle was pretty into it, and, just kind of snowballed it. I just saw it. And then that was when all the Terra Firma and Krusty videos were coming out and all that. And so once you're in, then, it was a perfect time. And McGrath is winning Supercrosses, it was a good time.
I almost got my ears pierced and bleached my hair. I wanted to be like Jeremy McGrath so bad.
Yeah. No, I was a huge McGrath fan.
Dude, who wasn't?
Yeah, he was killing it, and he was, just had a good way about it. Not cocky, he was a good representative of the sport.
He was.
Yeah.
It was sick to watch. We watched a little Terra Firma 3 action the other night. We last night he got in last night, and we were just bullshitting about dirt bikes and racing and everything that we do, and we started talking about Terra Firmas, and we're like, bro, let's watch it. We got YouTube on a TV. We're grown up and we can do whatever we want. Let's watch it.
Yeah.
So we watched it, and with the Johnny Campbell opening scene, come on,
that's next level.
Perfection in a movie. And then Jeremy McGrath, and one thing that stood out to me that maybe I didn't realize at the time that Jeremy said, they like put a snippet of his interview from the Supercross. He's like, this is so awesome. Like, after a Supercross win, he's like, we must just be the luckiest people in the world, or something like that.
That's so cool.
It's just so cool because like I feel like the culture of motocross, like guys aren't super stoked. It doesn't really seem like they're like, oh man, I'm just so happy and stoked to be here. Like they're almost like missing that gratitude part of things. And I'm just mass generalizing here, but Jeremy seemed like he was like enjoying it when he was doing it. and having fun and realize that he was in the good old days and grateful to be there. And I think that's probably one thing that resonated with us as kids. Like, oh, look how much fun this guy's having.
Yeah, definitely. And just like they did have the videos and everything. Like it was a good time with like technology. You could see it, but it wasn't like it is now where it's just everywhere. You could watch it anytime. So you really appreciate it. You really listen to the interviews and you just
exactly.
got a good feel for everything.
There was like way less content and information out there. So when they spoke, we listened.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly.
It was like big. Now it's like you get to the end of Supercross and like I'll watch the podium interviews just because I'm a super fan, but I'm not getting anything from them.
Yeah, and you could watch all the podium interviews right now from the last 10 years if you wanted to,
And it all sounded the exact same.
Yeah. So it's like it's so available. I mean, there was something to be said for the 90s and just the way it was.
The 90s, bro. Because you're 35, right?
Yeah.
How sick is it that we got to grow up in that era of the 90s when like things were, I don't know if we realized what was happening at the time when we were in it. We were just like watching whatever movies came out, but now looking back, we're like, that was one of the greatest eras of all time.
Yeah.
And there's a whole generation of guys like me and your age that were completely inspired by these videos and that culture in the era, and it changed the course of our existence.
Yeah, for sure. It's we were very lucky. And like the Baja scene, I feel like that's the golden era, the 90s of trophy trucks and Baja racing and, just all that along with Supercross. Supercross still, it's cool to this day, obviously, and so is Baja, but it's just special in that zone. The vehicles in Baja, like the technology, the trophy truck class happening, and then, the dirt bikes were just making big improvements at that time too.
They were running 600s and 650s all through that time, right?
Yeah, early 90s were all KX 500s winning.
KX 500s.
Yeah, and then
those are like Destry Abbott, Shane Esposito. Those guys were riding those, right?
LR was racing up until 94. I got the poster there. Ty Davis, Danny Hamill.
That's right.
Ted Honeycutt. Like there's a really solid group of people. Paul Krause won a lot. Craig Smith. And then in mid 90s, Cowie pulled out and kind of just 4-strokes and Hondas started putting in more effort, and it turned into a.
Do you know why Cowie lost interest in Baja?
Because Danny Hamill's crash in the 95 1000, he died. So that kind of put the brakes on everything.
What a tragedy that was, because he hit a federale or something, right?
He was an off-duty police officer, from what I heard, but right out of Ensenada, off the start of the 500. And they would race down the pavement at that time, so they were going fast, especially him, of all people. So
he was like next level.
Yeah, no, everybody, there is some videos you can watch, but yeah, he was next level. Yeah, I've been lucky enough to talk to a lot of old Team Green guys and stuff, and yeah, nobody says anything besides he was really fast, really nice guy.
What do they say that he did differently?
I don't know. I think it was just like he was a big guy, young. He won 5 Hare and Hound championships in a row, and I think he was like 23 when he died. So just a fast guy. But he's from Boulder City, Nevada, I think, and real rocky technical riding, and so he had to be versatile and just built for it.
Built for speed.
As far as I know, I never got to watch him race. So. Yeah,
sometimes it seems like guys like that they just have something different. Like it's their processing speed, or their eyesight, or they're just able to see things differently.
Yeah, for sure. No, and I think it was Ty when I rode for him. He would say Danny could like sniff out the arrows. He was just super good at navigating, leading a Hare and Hound or something. And that's a whole art form in itself,
Leading.
It's easy to follow the trail, but leading out and then keeping people far enough behind you where they can't key off of you and everything. So
it's so much harder to go fast in the lead than it is.
Yeah, you have experience, Ducati. Physically leading, and they mark the course really well there, but it's hard.
The final test is the hardest one when they're running you through those boulder fields and stuff.
It's like trial sections,
and sometimes you'll be like up on a rock, get up onto a big boulder, and then you don't really know which way the trail goes. So you have to find the end of the boulder where the marker is. You're just like on full blown, like peripheral scanning, like mode.
I know the feeling. I know the exact, yeah. It's, I feel like I wish they would just like spray paint an arrow on the rock or something. But yeah, I've jumped off a rock in the wrong place, and yeah, you're screwed. You could lose the race right there.
Totally. Yeah, that race is badass. You've raced that race a bunch, right?
Yeah, I've raced it every year since 2010. That was actually my first time riding a dirt bike in Mexico.
Tecate.
Was in the Tecate Enduro 2010, and it was a big, long Enduro, like it had transfer sections and stuff. It wasn't like the format it is now. So, yeah, but I didn't race it in 23. I helped the club that year because I had just gotten a knee surgery. But I still was involved, and I got to ride the last 2 loops, sweeping and stuff.
It was probably cool, like being involved with the race, but not racing.
Yeah, it was. I was like, this is the best club in my opinion. I think they're just
the Los Ancianos.
Awesome. Yeah, I like those guys, and I was like, man, I'd love to see the other side of this because it's my favorite event of the year. So it was a really cool experience. They were really nice, and they took my feedback on course marking and all that stuff, and it felt good because I got to go out early in the morning and break in the loops, loop 2, and try and lay down a good line for the first guys and make sure like all the the cow didn't eat the arrows that night, and it was cool. It was a good experience.
So you rode the race course ahead of everybody on the race day?
Yeah, on
23.
Yeah, on loop 2 I did, and then I swept loop 3, so I went behind everybody on loop 3. Yeah.
Okay. So there's there would have been one tire track then on both those loops because it rained the night before.
Yeah.
So you were probably fresh track.
Yeah, it was sick. It was almost as good as racing it. No pressure, just go and ride it.
I remember being a little bit tripping and like, why is there a track here?
Yeah.
But it was because you were racing. Because I would pass guys and then I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm in the front, but there's a track.
And I made like an effort to really burn it in. Yeah. So no, it's cool. It'd be cool if more guys that weren't racing that race would, like pro level guys would go down and do that and help out, because I feel like that's just takes it up a little bit, little notch. So
were you able to learn anything or take anything away from the race, like even as a racer, from working the event rather than racing it? Because I feel like as racers, we don't get to watch very many events very often.
No.
And watching offers a complete different perspective than racing.
Yeah, no, it does. I definitely took away a few things, and just kind of the lay of the land out there, and just getting to see it and just see the whole process. It's an advantage, I think, like a young racer, if you do that when you're just getting going, that'd be kind of cool to help out a club, and the clubs need it too, so it'd be a win-win.
Yeah, if you're like can't race that race for some reason, go get some experience at the race in a non-race setting. I noticed that when I was doing the media stuff for the Hard Enduro series. I'm like, oh, dude, I'm learning so much just by watching these guys, just by watching this race unfold.
Yeah. And
it gives me a complete different perspective. It's like the old saying, you can't see the forest from the trees.
Yeah, that's true.
When you're in the game and you're racing, you're just in the game and you're racing. But when you take a step back and watch it, you like get to see it how everybody else sees it. Yeah. And it's like, oh, okay, you like broaden your perspective on the sport.
Yeah, and at a pro level, like everybody's within a couple percent of each other. So if you can get a 0.5% better just by doing that, any Baja race I haven't participated in since I started, I've gone and watched it and really analyzed it, and I think it's made me better. Just with strategy and all that stuff.
What are some of the things that you've learned from watching races versus competing in them?
Well, Los Ancianos and Baja are and score would be totally different, but just like it's a different perspective on it. So it doesn't look like it's like some big long, like it's kind of hard to explain, but looks easier from the outside, so it's like doesn't look like such a big deal. But when you're racing, you have no idea where you're going or anything like that. So you can, I don't really know how to put it, but it just seems like less of a crazy task at the starting line. Like the next year I show up to Tecate and it's like, okay, Like it's not, I mean, we're going to go out here and I've seen that and I've stopped there and stuff, but during the race, you don't stop, you just go. So I don't know. It's not a very good answer, but yeah, it just changes the perspective on it,
right?
Basically.
Because you don't get nervous when you're watching a race the same way that you do when you're racing.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you're able to come to the line when you are racing with that perspective of like, hey, I've been at a race before and not been nervous. And at the end of the day, I'm just going to go ride my dirt bike and do what I know how to do best. And let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, you see things differently, basically.
Totally.
So, and then more knowledge you have about what you're doing, the better you're going to do, you know?
Yep.
So, you know, every little bit helps.
Every little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Plus you get to like see the perspective from your team as well. You know,
Definitely.
guys like LR, Larry Rossler, whoever else you could be watching with, you know, they'll like point out little observations during the race.
For sure.
That, you know, a lot of times you won't hear those things or see those things after the race or anything like that. It's like not like they're taking notes and doing a debriefing after the race with you.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they are, but
no, it's cool. It's a lifestyle. You know, if you can't race, you should be there. And just, if you really like it and you really want to do good at racing in general, you should go to as many races as possible.
For sure.
In different positions, you know?
Yeah. And different disciplines.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a PW50, and then where did you start with riding and racing?
Verona Oaks, where quite a few people that have had pretty cool careers have started.
Is that a motocross track?
Yeah, it's about half an hour from where I grew up in Alpine. So it's on a reservation, you know. So Verona Indian Reservation, they have a track real close to Ramona, California. So
is it still there?
Yeah, it's called the Home of Champions. It's
really?
Yeah, it's a lot of good guys started there.
Huh.
McGrath used to race there and stuff.
Huh.
I don't know if he started there, but yeah, like Billy Laninovich started there, Dustin Nelson, Ivan Ramirez, Eric Yorba. There's a lot of successful guys from there.
So you started off by riding moto.
Yeah, they had a kids track, and I was racing a little bit of BMX, and went and tried that, and yeah, it was going off. Like, there's kids everywhere, you know, it was huge. So yeah, just kind of just snowballed from there. Just, I was 5 or 6 years old, and then I got a little KTM 50 for a little bit, and then got the first Cobra. Like, everybody was ordering them, but the Cobra just came out, and that was like a game changer. It was next level. So
was it better than the KTMs?
Quite a bit, yeah. KTMs, I mean, typical KTM, it always broke and stuff. So yeah, so we got the Cobra and left it completely stock, and ended up winning the little championship up there in 1998.
Sick.
Yeah, it was good. We had went to every round. I think it was 22 rounds in the same little track. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
Learn a lot as a kid doing that, I feel like, you know.
I remember my dad chasing me around the track with a spark plug wrench and a spark plug because those KTM 50s were such pieces of shit.
They were bad. Yeah, it was bad.
I would follow a spark plug like 3 times on moto.
Yeah, I got that Cobra, and we never had one issue. My dad's like was really into keeping everything original stock. He wasn't like a crazy mechanic or anything, you know. He just, okay, it's engineered well. I remember all we did was put little skinnier bars on it for me because I was pretty small, and just rode it. Like, it was cool. Then moved up to a 60 after that.
That is so sick.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you had your dad's support.
Yeah, he was there every weekend. Never put any pressure on me, and really cool. It was I never got really too burned out because, you know, he's like, you see the other kids getting pushed and everything, and I remember just being like, yeah, this is fun. This is for fun. You know, it's not for anything else. And I still kind of have that approach to racing. I just enjoy it and I have fun. If I wasn't having fun, I wouldn't do it. Like,
Totally.
Yeah. And that's always been kind of the principle on racing for me.
Well, it goes back to like doing it for the right reason.
Exactly. That's a huge one for me. So, yeah.
And what's your reasoning for racing? Just because you like it and it's fun?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So many great people. It gives you something to live for, you know. It's a lifestyle, you know. It's like, makes you want to be in shape, makes you want to eat better. It takes all your money usually too, but yeah, it's just a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, you see people, and most of the people that you come across like on a daily basis, outside the motorcycle world, there's a lot of people that are lacking the pursuit of something. They're just living life and doing the best that they can with kind of what they've got, but they're not really like working on something. They're not really like in pursuit of something. And I feel like for us, we've been pursuing this thing, and pursuing a successful racing career or doing well at the races is the same path as having a successful life,
For sure.
So we can draw these parallels between dirt bike racing and life and have a good life because of it.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, on that, it definitely kept me out of trouble as a kid a lot. I didn't have time to get too crazy, so I even like high school and everything, it kept me in line for sure. Just discipline and all that stuff, but self-inflicted, not, you don't want to rebel against somebody. You want to do good because you want to do good at the race this weekend.
Right. Well, and it's like, I got to wake up early tomorrow because I want to practice, because I want to get better, because I got this race coming up. It like keeps you on the track. I don't really have time to go do this or go to a party or do that. Like I'm working on this thing.
Yeah.
I got to stick with this thing.
Yeah. No, it's pretty much been like that with me for a long time. I don't drink or anything like that still. I'm just focused at, I'm not sure really why, but it's been good and it's still going and I still have fun. So.
Stone cold sober.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I went through a partying phase, about 15 years ago, but, yeah. No, I don't. Yeah.
It's good to go through that.
Yeah. And you learn a lot, but
you learn.
Don't get carried away for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Don't get caught completely in the vortex.
Yeah. No, it'd be easy to do, especially where I'm from. There's a lot of people, a lot of availability for that, but,
for sure.
But yeah, it's, racing is everything for me still. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So you started off with motocross, and then somewhere along the line you transitioned to doing some off-road races.
Yeah, I did motocross until I was 18, only motocross.
Wow.
Yeah. Never had a ton of money to be able to go back east or to Loretta's, but I did qualify at some point, on 80s. I started to get pretty dialed in there and trained with Mike Craig when I was getting on big bikes.
That's sick.
Yeah, that was cool. He was, Christian was real young then too. He was on 80s and I was just on big bikes and got definitely that helped my speed a lot. Also trained with other local pro, Dustin Nelson. He was real good, and just little things here and there, and just kind of staying consistent with it until I was about 18. And yeah, I couldn't really afford to do it myself. And you're 18, you're an adult, you better do it yourself type of deal. And yeah, I rode some mountain bikes and stuff, and then did an off-road race in 2010 when I was 20, and or a District 38 desert race, and that changed everything. Like just the amount of money you spend for how much fun you can have in a 3-hour desert race. It's like, it doesn't compare to anything to me at that time. Especially, I was totally sold. And then
did your dad race and ride with you?
No, I mean, he rode a little at the desert when we would camp out there and stuff.
But you were kind of like a solo mish in terms of like if you wanted to go for like a big adventure ride or a ride.
Yeah, I pretty much a lot of riding by myself. Had some friends and stuff too, but yeah, a lot of riding by myself.
It makes sense that you would seek out races then, because you're like, I need a course that's marked, that's a closed course for the most part, because I don't really know where I'm going. I'm just a kid. I don't want to get lost out in the desert just going on a trail ride.
Yeah. Yeah, and then, I mean, everybody wants to be Jeremy McGrath, so you got to go on the track and do the jumps and do all that too. So, yeah, just epicenter was Verona Oaks for me, and then, which is cool looking at the track now. It's kind of rocky, like the terrain. It was good to transition to off-road from there, and then, yeah, I just think there's something there because there's been a lot of pretty good off-road guys come out of there, so.
Is it like hard pack slick?
Yeah, it has a little everything. It has a sandwatch section, has, it never really like any crazy big jumps, just medium size. And but yeah, hard pack slick and like real, the corners are difficult and a lot of flat corners and stuff like that. So yeah, subconsciously I was learning how to ride off road.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then then a little bit of mountain bike racing, and then got the opportunity to go to Tecate And I was like, oh, this is like a all day mountain bike race. This is the coolest thing ever, you know? So it was kind of like a downhill mountain bike race, like type of trails, but it's all day, 100 miles of it, which, yeah, that was very difficult the first time to even finish it.
Oh, it's hard now.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it. Yeah. I was out there all day, but it was a really cool year too. There was a lot of real fast guys there.
What year was that?
2010.
So that was like your introduction to off-road?
That was my introduction to riding a dirt bike in Mexico and like hardcore off-road, like enduro style stuff. I didn't know, like, I was like real confused at the beginning of the day. I'm like, okay, so I don't race here. And then now I got to race when I get to this checkpoint, but I got to be here by this minute. Like, I'm like, man,
was it a timekeeper?
It wasn't a timekeeper, but it was like you had to be on your minute to get there.
Yep.
It wasn't like a really hard thing, but I was just so like just a motocross kid. And then I did like 1 or 2 desert races, which is basically a big motocross race. You know, you start and go till you see the checkered flag.
Yep.
So that was a really intimidating, you know, and I was the last minute. We signed up last, you know. Oh,
so you were on the back row?
Yeah, I showed up late. My buddy, my co-driver now, Cameron Corfman's dad, Chip, took me up there. I drove down to his house in El Centro, and we drove up there in the dark. So I didn't know where I was.
Oh,
like
brutal.
It was cool. It was a good way to do it. Everything was a surprise.
That's a lot coming at you at once.
Yeah. And I think I got like 18th overall or something.
That's good.
Yeah, which looking back, I think that was really good.
Man,
at the time I was pissed.
Motocross, people that start off with motocross have such a foundation of speed and technique, especially people that have had formal training in motocross. Yeah. They have a foundation that nobody else has. Like you can't get that speed anywhere else.
Yeah, like in a desert race, you can look at something and jump it, you know, instead of like a guy that's been riding in his desert his whole life, just kind of doesn't leave the ground really.
I saw you jumping a lot today on our ride. You like the little downhill, like little ledges, downhills and stuff. You always like down as far as you can to the next little ledge. You kind of downside it, land on the brakes a little bit so you can make the turn.
Yeah, kind of moto BMX
style.
A
little moto BMX style.
Yeah. No, I always jump. I've always been real comfortable jumping stuff like that.
Well, it's fun.
Yeah, it definitely adds to the ride. You know, it gives you a little spike in, you know, adrenaline.
Does that come in handy in Baja, like being able to jump stuff?
Yeah. No, like Baja race courses, they'll have every type of terrain you can imagine. You know, a lot of times you see like somebody going real fast through a set of whoops or down a lake bed or something like that. But, you know, being able to hop over rocks and all that stuff, it comes in real handy.
Hop a ditch.
Yeah. And maybe you can make a cool line to, you know, save some time, and you'll have to go through a real technical section, but then it opens up or something like that. So that type of thing. Yeah. The moto skills pay off for sure.
So you ride moto, you go do some District 38 desert races, Tecate, and Mexico speaks to you.
Yeah. I mean, it's the ultimate for dirt bikes, you know, and then and then the following year, 2011 Baja 500 was my first Baja race. So 6 months after Tecate, in June, Baja 500 happens. And, that was cool. That was like I was just like, I can't believe I get to race the Baja 500. Like it's unbelievable to me.
So your first Baja was, how old were you?
21.
What year was that? 2011?
2011, yeah.
Wow. And what kind of bike were you on?
A Honda 450X. Wasn't a super well prepped one or anything. And the funny part is it was mine and Mark Samuel's first race together, and we ended up on that team together.
No way. Okay, so you guys got on a team together.
Yeah, but we didn't like know we were going to be on the team together or anything. Like this one guy would like organized it, you know, and it was a pro limited bike, so it's not like the top class, but the one down. But for some reason, you can still ride 450s in both classes. To this day, it's the same way. But yeah, so
it's like Pro 1 and Pro 2 almost.
Yeah, and Ty Renshaw was on that team too.
Wow.
So it was interesting. Yeah, but I think we got second in class or something. But we all had pretty good rides. I think Ty had a little downtime. He crashed, but he was fine. And yeah, it was good. It was cool first experience. But yeah, it's kind of once you're like in the game and you've done a decent ride, then you start talking to people. And this guy Seve, he chased for me that race, even though we were racing against him. They were racing Open Pro, but we were still like racing against. We're competition for overall, and he totally was cool and took me pre-running, which is a lot. Like you have to drive so much, especially that section. I had the summit section, so the truck has to drive, I don't even know a couple hours around to pick you up and give you gas and all that.
Summit section?
Yeah, it's like you go from like high desert over a big mountain pass and drop down into the low desert, which is like Placer City, District 38 type stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah. That's a very challenging section to give a 21-year-old kid there for their first Baja race.
And why did so you ended up with the more technical section?
So it's real technical at the beginning, and then it's probably the fastest section at the end. So it had everything, and it's challenging. Yeah, that's still it's a really cool part of Baja.
How long was that section?
I probably had about 100 to 120 mile section at that time.
Wow.
Yeah, it was cool. And Baja 500 is in June. The desert's pretty warm at that time usually, so it was cool. There's a lot of and you get down there in those washes, you got to know what way you want to go. So pre-running pays off a lot, and easy to get disoriented if you've never been there.
Is it?
Yeah, and didn't really have GPS set up, but I was just kind of winging it, So, but yeah, it worked out good.
And then like you said, once you're in the game, you get done with that race, and you're like, wow, like we did pretty good, and I learned so much.
Yeah.
Then you got to go back.
Yeah, and it's been like that every race since then.
Wow.
So you learn so much every time, and you could always be better. You could have always done something better. There's so many variables. Like you could always look back and be like, oh yeah, I should have pushed here, or I should have not tipped over here, or I should have took this line, or just it's endless in Baja. I think that's why I'm like so drawn to that style of racing.
Just because there's so much opportunity for growth, basically.
Yeah, and also the whole pre-running process. Like I've always worked full time. Since I was 16, pretty much. I've never really not had a job, and I'm distracted pretty easily, I think. And so you go down there for a week before the race, or hopefully more, but usually it's about a week or less, and you just focus. That's all you have to do, So you got to ride your section at least once a day, or if you can, as much as you can. And
so you'll ride the same section multiple times before the race.
Yeah, that's the whole pre-running thing. It's a big part of Baja racing, especially on a bike, because you don't have a co-driver and you don't have a GPS in front of you usually, and so you got to remember all that. And there's VCP, virtual checkpoints. You got to get within 120 feet of all those. They're all over the place. So as long as you hit all those, you're good. So you got to remember all of them though in your head, instead of in a car. Like I can be like, hey, to my co-driver, like, we're going to hit this one, right? We're good. If I'm in the dust, or, I don't disorient it, or something happens. So, and it's a 10-minute penalty if you miss the VCP. So they'll add up quick if you start missing them. So
you have to hit them.
Yep. So you pre-run, you make sure you know where all those are. You, try and just dial in your section, all your lines. It's pretty open in Baja. In some sections, you can really get creative with lines, like out in the desert. Find the fastest way from point A to point B, and hit all the VCPs. Make sure you know where all your pits are. That's a whole other thing. Every 50 miles, you got to fill the bike up with gas. So, yeah, there's a lot going on. And so pre-running is very, very essential.
What a massive effort.
Yeah, it is.
It's like a full series worth of effort for one race.
It is. And like with SLR team I was on for the last however many years, since 2018, they do all their own pits, or we do all our own pits. So you got to organize all that too, because other teams sometimes will buy like a pit service. There's like two or three of those that you can pay to fill you up with gas, but they're going to be where they're going to be. Like if you want to have strategy, you got to do your own pits, and if you want to have a really dialed in pit box and all the parts you would need, you got to do it yourself.
Right.
If you want it done right, do it yourself. So.
And it's like, if you extra wheels, extra parts, air filters, fuel, like it's a lot more than just filling the bike up with gas, lights.
Yeah, no. And having the right guy in the right spot, at the right time, everything like that. And if there's an emergency, having a guy there that knows what to do in that situation. Some really remote pits, maybe you'll have a banded rider that can get on the bike in a night section or something that we don't have a helicopter with a banded rider in it.
Banded?
Like wristband, like entered in the race.
Okay.
So there's that too. Like there's just all kinds of benefits of doing it yourself,
Yeah, because then you're just like running your own logistics entirely.
Yeah, but it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Everybody's got a lot of them are volunteers that pay for their own gas and all that stuff. So,
how do
they're
you
the backbone of the sport.
go about it? Do you start by looking at the course and then zooming in and zooming back out and zooming in and zooming back out on Google Maps and just figuring it out?
Yeah. So like when the course comes out, it's just like a basic map of the course. Like they'll release the Baja 500, say 3 weeks ahead of time or something like that.
That's it.
Yeah. They'll like, okay, the course is going to go here. And then like the GPX files they'll give you so you can like actually see where the VCPs are and all that. That'll happen when pre-running opens. So that's like 2 weeks. It fluctuates, but yeah. So then immediately you get on there and try and start strategizing and looking at everything. And, after a few years, you've raced all those sections, and then we, keep logs of fuel mileage and all that stuff in certain sections because it does vary. So yeah, it's the plan is a big deal. You could mess one thing, and if the guy's not right there, we're cutting the fuel mileage real tight. So yeah, everything's got to be perfect.
Wow.
It's more than just riding a dirt bike. It's a lot to it.
It's so easy to like see the end result and be like, okay.
Yeah.
Justin Morgan won. Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's pretty fast. But it's so much more than that.
Yeah. It's a team effort, and like, yeah, the team doesn't get enough credit. Let's just say that. Like the rider, being the rider record sometimes and getting my name to win, it's good, but you almost feel bad because there's so much that goes into it. It's not just you riding a dirt bike. But at the end of the day, you have to ride fast too. So that's all,
And riding fast is like one piece of the pie.
Yeah, a small piece. Yeah.
Because you got to have speed, but you also need to know when to taper it down, when to look ahead, when to shift down a gear, when to that.
Yeah, where to go fast and where to go slow is a big deal in a bike or in a car in Baja. And strategy, it's a big deal. But you got to be able to go fast when you need to.
I feel like there's a lot of little things too. Like you were explaining last night when we were having dinner how you came up on this cow when you hit that cow.
Mm-hmm.
And you were talking about how you were like, I just want to hug the fence because what the cows usually do is they go this way and then they hop up and they get scared. So you're like telling me about how a cow reacts to a motorcycle when you ride up on them at night. You're like, okay, this guy knows about cattle behavior when a dirt bike gets close to it.
Yeah, and that's where experience comes into play.
Yep.
And pre-running at the time you're going to race. Sometimes some sections are more important than others to do that. But if you're going to race through there at dusk, you want to ride through there at dusk and make sure, like, see what's going on.
See what's going on in this area.
Yeah, stop and look around or look at the tracks on the road. There'll be some roads you're on that some of them are hardly ever used, some of them are used every day. So at 5 o'clock I saw a fresh 2-track going down here. It looked like a Toyota Tacoma drove down here with bald tires. So like, okay, this is the local guy going to his ranch. Hopefully he doesn't do that on race day, stuff like that. So you got to pay attention to everything.
And I can't count on him not doing that on race day. So maybe this section of road, I'll go fast, but I'll be aware that there could be a Tacoma coming the other direction.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So you're thinking about all that while you're racing, and the first few years you do it, you're just trying to go fast and you don't know about that stuff. And the first couple races, I didn't really understand it, but then I started pre-running with a guy named Jeff Kaplan. He's a legend, like super good Baja racer since the 70s. So I got really lucky and linked up with him, and he taught me a lot of that stuff and just what to look for and line choice and stuff. Just, he was obviously past his prime, but he knows all that stuff, and he was currently racing still. So that was a really big benefit.
I feel like learning from the OGs is so huge. Like coming into that with ready to learn, open mindset, like tell me what you know and I'll do it.
Yeah, exactly. And just a little bit of luck just to get involved. Know a guy who knows him, or like you better listen if you get the chance to ride or pre-run with somebody that has a lot of experience like that. So yeah, I think I've been a good listener and that's helped me a lot.
Well, I feel like people want to help people more that are good listeners or that are making the space to listen.
For sure.
There's a lot of people that are just like, they think that they know it all. And the Larry Raglins, the Larry Rosslers, what was that guy's name?
Jeff Kaplan's,
they're not going to mesh with these guys.
No. If you have an ego or if you act like you know anything or if you're pre-running like a jackass, like you got to ride the same speed as the guy with you and kind of like test lines out and split I'm going to go this side of the bush, you go this side.
Yes.
And if you can't have etiquette and do that and be okay to be around all day, they're not going to want to pre-run with you, But that being said, I've done most of my pre-running alone. If I'm not pre-running with Jeff, it's usually alone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you prefer to ride alone?
Yeah, I think kind of going back, I get really easily distracted. So I could think or talk, start talking or something like that. I need to focus. It's really important that you know what's going on and you're really dialed in. Even even if you're distracted or whatever during the race, like if you're focused enough during pre-running, it's kind of subconscious at that point. So yeah, even in the car, I pre-run a lot alone, and then my co-driver will show up and we'll make some notes and stuff and then go racing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you did your first one in 2011, and then when was your first Baja win?
2015 Baja 500.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So
what was that experience like?
Pretty insane, actually. That race was gnarly. It kind of took a strange route up through the pine forest, which we don't get to race that much, and then went down.
That sounds pretty sick.
Yeah, it goes basically all the way to the border, like the northern border, like of the U.S. So it goes down a hill called La Rumorosa and all that, like old school, like goat trail. Like trophy trucks make 3-point turns to get down it with big cliffs on the side. Yeah. So that's a really cool piece of Baja that we don't get to race very often, and I wish we could do more. And so I had like a broken hand too, so that was a really gnarly situation. But yeah, we ended up winning. It was cool. I got on the bike in Ojos. Max Eddy gave me the bike, and then did that section. Got on the bike in 6, got off the bike in the lead, and there was a lot of drama in between there. A lot of people crashing, a lot of stuff happening, and then Ian Young got on the bike and brought it back to Max, and we had just a solid race, and it was on the Kawasaki, the Precision Concepts THR Kawasaki. Yeah, so that was cool. Very really good experience. That's the first time I met Kendall Norman or hung out with him, and he was in the helicopter for me in that race. The first time I had a helicopter. But yeah, I'd crashed pre-running, and I degloved one of my fingers. It got caught under the handlebar when I crashed on some rocks.
No.
And just ripped everything apart. I had like 32 stitches in one finger. The other one was like degloved, like just taped up, like no skin, and then the other one was broken. So it was on my throttle hand.
Oh.
It was I was like not even knowing 2 days before the race if I was going to be able to race, and we ended up winning. So it's quite the roller coaster.
Riding with a broken hand in Baja, you have rocks and chatterbones for 1,000 miles.
Yeah, it was a 150-mile section, but yeah, it
feels like 1,000.
Oh yeah, and it was very difficult, but it was a good test, and to get the win was a good reward.
And when you do something like that, you learn about yourself. You're like, oh, I can push through.
Yeah.
If I have a broken hand, like I can still make it happen. It's almost like it opens your eyes to how strong you can be if you need to be.
Yeah. Mental toughness is a huge deal, So if you're starting to feel bad or getting a bad way of thinking while you're in this long race out there by yourself, even if you don't realize it, you're probably slowing down a little bit.
Totally.
Yeah. And like your reaction time, if you're distracted or just not in the right mindset, it's going to translate to your results basically. So yeah, I definitely have learned that over the years, like just keep pushing the whole time. And you'd be amazed at what you can do, even if you're really tired, and just keep making good decisions, focus on the next corner, just the next thing, the whole time.
And what strategies do you use to stay in that positive mindset?
That's a tough one. Hard to say. I just kind of just think about the task at hand. When you're pre-running, you kind of break everything into sections, right? Like 100 miles, you could break into 10 sections even, or 2 sections. It just depends on the terrain change and stuff. So you're basically just, once you've pre-ran it a few times and you've kind of made these sections like, okay, like I'm going to get to this pit, or I'm going to get to this road crossing or this hill, just like turn the page every time. That's behind you. Don't ever think about that again. You go to the next one, all the way through. So just stay focused ahead.
So you're always like chasing a carrot.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And when you're tired and hungry, is there any like breathing techniques or self-talk techniques or, awareness techniques, or like recognizing that you might get caught in a negative mind space, but you need to change it? Is there anything that you recognize that you consciously work on?
Not really. I mean, I've done a lot of races down there, so that it's kind of automatic now, basically. But like physically, like my elbows will start hurting if I'm not hydrated enough and stuff like that over a long period of time. And I'll know like, oh, I wasn't hydrated enough. I got to work on that better next time. Maybe more electrolytes the day before, or IV or whatever. But yeah, physically and mentally, you can always be like, oh, I did this wrong. And then just keeps improving every time. And I'm sure if I race 100 more times, I'd improve every time.
Do you make notes after the race on how your race went and what you learned? Or no,
I just mental notes.
Just log it.
Yeah. And probably the wrong way to do it. Yeah, I'd probably benefit from writing it down and doing that, but I don't.
Yeah, but you're like a memory savant, right?
Idiot savant.
No, memory. Like you got a crazy memory or something.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember race courses and stuff, I think above average probably, and just like race, like what happened in this race, where I got off, where did I pit, and I think it's just super important to me so I can actually retain it.
What about your girlfriend's birthday?
Yeah, I do know that, but
you've been with her for 10 years.
Yeah. So I better know it by now. Yeah. But no, there's a lot of things I don't remember, but racing, I take it pretty seriously, and I think about it every day, all day. So.
Well, I feel like with the memory, I can relate to what you're saying, and I don't remember every race course, that's for sure, but I do remember moments. There's definitely a lot of moments and a lot of memories, burned into my brain, and I think it's just because the intensity and the stress of the moment, or maybe not the stress, but just the focus of the moment that you're in is so much more intense than like regular everyday life.
Yeah, and you're 100% in it at that time. So there's nothing else going on.
Yeah, you're deep in your own focus, in your own mind, focused, and it's like if my chick is talking to me or I'm talking to friends about this or whatever, like regular life scenario, I could be thinking of other shit at the same time. Mm-hmm. And easily, I might even be having a conversation and be thinking about something else. And that, whatever we're talking about, that's not going to get burned in the same way as when I'm fully engaged racing a motorcycle.
Yeah, and like it's dangerous and everything. So you're like just all in.
You have to be.
When you're racing. Yeah, any type of racing. But yeah, it makes sense.
It's funny how you're like a guy that you say you get distracted easily, but you go to these races like Baja and stuff like that. When it comes to racing a dirt bike, it seems like you have a super focus. You almost have a superpower to focus on the thing that you love to do.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, definitely. And I think the week down there pre-running at a Baja race is a big part of that. It's just locked in the whole time.
So you're as locked in for pre-running as you are for the race.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. It's
but a different type of mindset.
Yeah. But no, it's a lot of like, you better be on your game, and you better use those days wisely because they go away really quick. So all of a sudden, like, oh, we got a race tomorrow,
So you get a lot of riding in like the week before the race.
Yeah, pretty much all day, every day for that week.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a lot of hours on the bike. And you just get better at the process every time, more efficient, get your chase guys dialed in, your truck dialed in, everything.
Do you ever get tired before the race starts? You're like, oh, we did a lot. I could see how there could be a balance there, though, of like the more that we ride our section beforehand, the more we're going to be using up these valuable energy resources.
Yeah.
But the more prepared we might be.
Yeah, it's such a fine line, and I've done it every way you can do it wrong.
Overdoing it, underdoing it.
Yep. And then, and it comes down to having a prepared bike for it, so you're not wasting a day working on it. You
need a pre-runner and a race bike.
Yeah. The race bike has to be separate from the pre-runner for sure. And you better have a reliable machine that can, even if it's a stock bike or whatever, as long as it's great to have a race replica bike would be the ideal. But if you just have something reliable, that's more important than anything, so you don't have downtime. Yeah, no, I've done it every way wrong.
Yeah.
I learned the hard way.
Well, that's how you learn.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, the hard way is like, sometimes the hard way is the way that resonates the most.
Yeah, definitely. That's the only way that it will resonate, I think, in racing. It's failure, and just build on it.
Yeah. Well, and you learn to embrace the learnings and the failures and the mistakes that you make rather than shame yourself for making them.
Yeah.
I see that with a lot of younger riders. They'll like get so mad at themselves and like disappointed in themselves for making mistakes. And it's like, bruh, this is part of the game. Yeah. You're going to make mistakes, and you're always going to be making mistakes. They're just going to become smaller and smaller and smaller. And shaming yourself for making that mistake is not going to make you better. No. All you're going to do is be giving that mistake all your energy.
Yeah. Use it for fuel.
Yeah. Okay. I tuck the front. What do I need to do? Well, keep my elbows up, look further ahead, smoother throttle. Okay. Pull a tear off. Next corner.
Yep, exactly. Don't look back. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Same with life too, though. You learn and you just keep going.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So you win your first Baja in 2015. And then what?
Then we went on to get like second at the 1,000 on that Cowie. We had some mechanical issues we were battling a lot that year. So, then that program ended. So 16 got on back on a Honda. It wasn't a Honda supported bike, but it was a privateer team that for 16 and 17 I rode for. And 16, I don't think we won anything in 16, but we were in very well contention for the lead.
Competitive.
Yeah, and then 17, we've kind of got it figured out. It was me and Shane Esposito mainly riding those races. Francisco Arredondo was the rider of record, and he paid for pretty much all of it.
What do you mean the rider of record?
So in a score race, and most desert races, like Best in the Desert and stuff, there will be the rider that his name gets the points. Like that's his name. Like you'll see his name won the race, and then there'll be like three other riders or one other rider too, So, but those are co-riders technically, as it's listed on the entry form. So, yeah, those are the rider of record. I've been in it a few times, but right now Tyler Lynn is rider of record for the 7X SLR team. So, it's kind of a big deal to some people, and some people it's not. But it is cool for your exposure and everything to be the rider record. And if you're winning races and stuff, it's good for your career, I guess. But usually there are teams in Baja that like an older guy that won't ride too many miles. He'll pay for the whole thing, and he'll be the rider record. And it's great for the sport that there are those guys. But yeah, he didn't win the race, but it looks like he won the race sometimes. But But I mean, actually, Francisco was pretty good. He rode Dakar like 7 times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was a good rider. He just wasn't like lightning fast, but super solid guy. It was a good situation. So we had, that Chris Haynes program. That's what that was. And then, we had a couple like real close finishes with the Ox Motorsports team with Colt Newdall and Mark Samuels. And then the 517 we won. And then, I didn't lose a race until like this last year. San Felipe. Yeah. So
you didn't lose any of the Baja races?
not one that I entered. I did do a few as a co-driver in the truck because the SLR budget was pretty small for a couple years there. And we just did the 1,000 because that's the important one. So, for the sponsors and everything. So, like 17 went good. 18 was when we started. I was just going to show up in solo 18. So Bob Young's at San Diego Powerhouse. We had my old 450X Heron Hound bike that was super old, super beat, and Bobby rebuilt it, and we were just going to go line up and go race San Felipe. I was going to solo it. It's the shortest race of the year, so it's doable. And Mark Samuels was at Dakar at the time, so when he got back, I was like, hey, you want to race San Felipe with me? Like, I know he had some really good suspension, and he had way more connections than I did, and he's a great rider. So tried to get him, and he ended up riding a small section 2018 San Felipe, and just came down with his dad in a pickup truck, and we had a super bare bones program, and we ended up winning that 250. That was a super special race for me because I was riding a record. It was my bike. Like, it was a big deal.
Just your own effort, your own program, and you were there because you wanted to be.
Yeah, racing against the teams I was on. Like, I'm just like, all right, like I want to do this myself and, do it the best way I know how, and I think I can do it really good. So getting Mark was super, super key. And then he's like, man, I got to start my own like team, because he had a team before, but that ended. And then he started SLR Honda. And then we just started getting support from Honda, Monster, all that, and it just kept getting better and better and better. Yeah, and that year we won overall vehicle in the 1,000
in 18.
Yeah, it was a pretty big deal. This is the last time a bike's done that.
2018 is the last time that's been done.
Yeah. So we beat the lead truck by like 36 seconds.
How gnarly is it to do that? Because it's usually the trophy trucks that overall.
Yeah, recently. I mean, it used to be more common that the bikes would do that like through the 90s and up until I think 2013. It was pretty common. The trucks keep getting better. The teams keep getting better. The courses get rougher, and it just suits a truck better. And now the all-wheel drive trucks, I don't think anybody's going to overall on a bike ever again. I'd be surprised.
Really?
Yeah. No, those new trucks are insane.
They're running all-wheel drive trophy trucks.
Yep. That's the top 10 trucks are usually all-wheel drive now, and they're, over 1,000 horsepower. They've got guys that have been racing them, Luke McMillan, Bryce Menzies, all these guys that are super good at driving them. They've had them for years now, so the bugs are worked out. They're going so fast in those trucks. I think San Felipe, last year they averaged like 73 or something like that. Yeah, Alan Impudia, he's another one that's really good.
That is so fast.
Yeah, and in those bumps and like rocks and everything, it's insane. 40-inch tires.
Well, you see those things going down like a whooped out road, and they're just like, yeah. And the body of the truck is not even moving at all.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. And with all-wheel drive, they're just in so much more control, I think.
Because they can pull through the corners and
stuff?
stuff?
Yeah, and even like down the whoops, like it's not skating, it's pulling, a lot like a Polaris Pro R.
It's tracking straight instead of being pushed from the back and getting some of this.
Yeah, it's just all-wheel drive, like kind of rally car style situation, but it's gone up to a trophy truck level. And they can change lines and, avoid rocks and stuff like that, I think. Easier. I haven't driven.
Because they can power out of the ruts.
Yeah, it's just they seem to be going faster, better control, and it looks easier to me from the outside. So pretty interesting, the vehicles they're driving right now. So I don't think a bike's
stoked were you when you overhauled that thing?
It was cool. I mean, I didn't think we would have overhauled the bike. I knew we won the bike, overall bike, but I would have never, I didn't think till like we saw it the next day. I'm like, oh, we actually won the whole thing. So that was a pretty cool accomplishment.
Is that probably the most special one?
Yeah, I mean, especially on paper, like that's crazy, but they're all such a challenge and everything. Like every time you can win a race down there, it's a pretty big deal. Like in my head, it's such a challenge, and everything has to go right. Like you could leave one bolt loose on the bike and you're done. You're not gonna win. That was all wasted time. So pretty cool sport.
Which is why it's so amazing that you've won Bajas from 2017 through 2024, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, all of them that I entered. There was like 3 full years undefeated, and then I think we did like 21, 22, just the 1,000, and I didn't race in 23.
Undefeated through the 250, the 500, and the 1,000?
Yeah, and they have another race, Baja 400, and Tijuana Desert Challenge back then too. So.
And you were able to keep it on 2 wheels year after year, race after race.
And that's just a testament to like the equipment, the mechanic, the pit guys, and the riders to keep it up on 2 wheels, not break a radiator, tip over.
Wow.
Yeah. So me and Mark and Justin Jones was there a lot and pretty sharp at that time. It kind of seemed easy at the time,
You were probably like the modern day fastest guy in Baja.
I wouldn't say that. There's so many good riders down there, and it's all dependent on the day. But yeah, statistically, we had a really good run. There's a lot to it, but
in 23, you did it in a UTV, and that was your first time racing at UTV.
Yeah, so 23, I had ACL surgery, meniscus fixed before the 1,000. Like I had it a few months, but it takes a long time to heal from that. So. Throughout that whole time, all those races I didn't race on a bike, I was riding with Larry Rossler in the right seat of his trophy truck. So I'm learning about the car thing and the process, and he speaks the same.
The 400 and all that.
All that. I did 7 races with him in his trophy truck. Yeah. So, which is like a cheat code, right? Like you get to be with the best, in my opinion, the best guy ever. And, especially a guy that has done exactly what I want to do. I want to transition from bikes to cars, and who better than him to kind of mentor me through that. And I'm just super lucky to have known him and had that opportunity, and he didn't have a co-driver, and he called me, and super good deal. So I'm like really wanting to race cars now. I'm learning, I'm driving the pre-runner a little bit with him, and he's telling me where he's looking in the corners and speaking the motorcycle language to me. And, so yeah, super lucky there. And so 23, I'm not racing the bike at the 1,000. I'm not racing one bike race that year. So I go and I text Caden McCachran because they have this big, awesome Polaris program, and that's their first 1,000. And it happens to be the longest Baja 1,000 ever, 1,311 miles, I think it was. And it was the first time it started in La Paz and went north. So I'm like, these guys are going to need drivers. They got 4 cars racing. And I mean, Caden, super cool, younger guy. I think he's like 21. His dad's, everybody calls him the GOAT of trophy truck racing, Rob. And he's a real good driver. And I was like, hey, do you need, I know you don't need somebody, but I'll just letting you know that I am available to do a section for you at the 1,000. And figured I wasn't even going to get a text back, right away. He's like, yeah, no, we want you. I talked to my dad. We want you. We got to make this work. So they had me do, long story short, they had me do the night section at that race. So I got in at San Ignacio, about the halfway point, and drove almost to San Felipe, like Gonzaga Bay. So that was like 480 miles at night, which is just awesome. In one of those Pro R race cars, it was like sick. So I got in the car pretty far down, I think like 30 minutes off the lead, and got out of the car in the lead.
No way.
Yeah. So just everything worked. The pre-run process, I did everything like a bike, So and then I get in the car, and I don't have my GPS notes for my co-driver. They're not in the car. So I'm like, okay, well, I know how to do this. I pre-ran a bunch. It's just like a motorcycle. And he couldn't, there was an intercom issue that, things happen with that stuff. It's technology, so you can't rely on that technology. But my co-driver couldn't hear me, so I couldn't really ask him a question. He was just kind of like, sharp turn coming up, because he could see it on the GPS, and he pre-ran with me a little. But
so he was giving you the information that he could give you without your notes.
Yeah, without notes and without me being able to ask him or tell him what I like to hear. So, but he's a real good co-driver, so it was good. And we made it work, and just got a good roll of the dice through there. And
how long was your 400 miles? You said
I think it was like 480.
480.
Yeah.
So you just had to go into the memory and be like, okay, I'm pretty sure there's a ditch up here that I wanted to avoid. Let's go to the right. Like just little stuff like that. Like how fine-tuned are you trying to remember?
I could pretty much remember the whole section when it comes to race day, like what side of the road the danger's on or where I want to be or what line. Yeah. Usually a Baja race, I can remember all of my section. I mean, I haven't soloed 1,000, but
are other guys able to do that, or is that like a strength of yours?
I think a lot of car guys that have had a co-driver and notes their whole time just haven't developed that. A lot of bike guys could probably do it.
Because bike guys are solo, they don't have a co-driver.
Yeah, so you have to learn that. And you have to learn to respect the terrain a little more too, because it could put you on your head instead of give you a flat tire. So not taking anything away from car guys, there's a whole different set of challenges there that's very difficult, and it's really impressive what those guys do. But I think if you start on a motorcycle, I think you're at an advantage for sure. And
remembering the course.
Yeah, and the memory side of things, and just like the feel for the ground, like you felt it with your front tire on your dirt bike a lot, and stuff. So it's got to be an advantage.
Totally.
Yeah, but if learning how to drive a car going fast and keeping track of that much of the road instead of one little single track is a challenge. It's a whole different thing.
Right, because then you have 4 wheels that you need to consider instead of 2.
Yep. So it's like riding 2 motorcycles
at the same time.
Yeah. So it's a lot to keep track of in those cars. There's all these gauges there's a lot more things to fail on a car too, and you can overdrive them.
More than 4 times the amount of things can fail.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of stuff going on.
Do you guys run like mooses or anything like that?
No, just BFG tires.
Just BFGs with air.
Yeah.
No like tire balls or moose inserts.
And last year, I think the BFGs did the entire Baja 1000 without a flat, and the guy that won just ran one set.
Wow.
So that's how. Yeah,
so
they're really good.
They just have like a crazy sidewall probably.
Yeah, and it's all about getting them to feel good and not put extra stress on the car and be durable and last. The tread has to last.
So you need them to be just like anything. You need them to be compliant but also rigid. Mm-hmm. Compliant but strong.
Yep.
And grippy but not too soft.
Yeah, because it has to go a long ways, and it has to. Yeah.
1,000 miles they can make it.
Yeah, with a very smooth driver that. I think all-wheel drive helps.
So he was being intentional with. You have to take that into consideration.
I don't think so. No, I think he just drove, but he just happens to be really good, and just smooth. But yeah, I think that tire technology is super good. But you can make one wrong move and get a flat with any tire, with anything.
One sharp rock that you didn't see.
Yeah, you could. There's so many rocks out there and so much rough terrain and everything. So it's pretty cool though that. How good this stuff is.
That is so sick. And driving the UTV, I mean, what other than like memorizing the course, what else carries over from moto?
Momentum, knowing momentum,
understanding the fundamentals.
Yep, it's just the fundamental. Yeah,
momentum, basically. Outside to inside.
Yeah, line choice, momentum. I mean, just like setup. Like a feel for the desert. Like, oh, this is a little harsh. Like, we should change this. This is what we need to change. I think on testing, I think motorcycles can, because you have such a good feel for a motorcycle. If you've been doing it a long time, you could carry that over to a car. And then, and there's a lot to learn on the car side of things.
Is it harder to practice in the car game?
Yeah, it's way more expensive for one, like right off the top. And then it's a process. You got to load your car on the trailer and go to the place and prep the car. And but once you're out there, it's nice. You just throw a helmet on and go, and you can take somebody with you, and you can bring a cooler. So it's much easier to once you're there. But the setup is a lot in cars.
Wow. So you're trying to transition to cars. Actually, before we talk about cars more, you raced ISDE in 2017, right?
Yep.
Tell us about that.
It's just a really cool experience. Probably one of the coolest things I've ever done.
What made you want to go?
I just like racing. I like every kind of racing. I mean, I've done some hard enduros. I've done West Hare Scrambles. I just like racing in general. So that seemed like a world-class event in Europe, which I'd never been to, that I can feasibly go to and maybe do okay in, So they had a qualifying that year. Like, that was the first year they had like a real, like, legit qualifying series. I think Eric Kudla kind of put that together. He was real passionate about it. And that elevated the whole country's, like, the trophy team was great, but it elevated all the club teams, the 21 club riders that go, or however many it is. And we qualified, and there was some good guys like Cody Webb and stuff went that year. And I decided to take a 450X over to France and ride it just because I knew it was gonna finish.
Had they ever seen one of those?
A lot of people hadn't, because they were, a lot of people.
What is this thing?
Yeah, I had like gold tape on the fuel line and stuff. And they're like, "What is this?" Like maybe giving me crap about it.
Like, that's to keep it cool when you're doing 100 through the desert.
Yeah. So that was a really cool experience. France, like. It's like an epicenter of enduro, right? Like, the French guys are so good. So it was an awesome experience. I rode solid. I tipped over one time probably all 6 days, and it was like 32 hours of riding in 6 days. 5 days really, because the last day is just a small motor race. So I'd like to go back and do one of those again, because it's just the experience, and you're just seeing dirt bike racing at the highest level. Like, the mechanics, the bikes, the rigs, like, it's just like you're on another planet.
The guys are so good there too, huh?
Ridiculous. Like, absolutely ridiculous. And it's cool. You can watch like the final moto and watch the, top guys. Cause I went on a club team. I wasn't on the trophy team. That's a whole nother can of worms. There's some really good riders that have gone on just club teams, and you would think they'd be on a trophy team,
Well, sometimes, like, a country will have like an abundance of really good riders.
Yeah.
And they'll take them and put them on a club team. So you'll end up with some like trophy level club team, basically.
For sure. There's always a couple.
I remember when I went in 2011, there was this guy, like, his name was Neil something, and he was on like a rented KTM 125 for like Denmark or something. And this guy was so fast, and we were like on close times. And you had no idea who this guy is, but we ended up being friends by the end of it, because we were like riding together a lot, similar, super close skill level, times, everything.
Yep. Yeah. I have a similar story with an Italian guy that was on my minute, and super good, younger than I was, and he riding a 125 and I'm on a 450X, and we're within a second of each other usually.
Unreal.
So it was fun. Just, I think like 2 or 3 of the days we started on the same minute, like, or if not like 1 minute apart, So it was cool just to, I didn't have any Americans anywhere near me all day. It didn't seem like, it was just people from everywhere.
Were you able to use your memory and your terrain knowledge and memory abilities to like walk tests, remember them, and do better in the race?
Yeah, I think pre-running Baja races played into me being able to walk the courses and remember them for sure, or at least remember the bad spots, or all right, this is like this whole area is like a fast section or a slow section, or find the flow of the special test. But it was hard to remember everything just walking it and then going out, and then it had changed.
Totally.
I was almost 800th off the line on the first day. So I'm passing people and it's dusty and in special tests, it's chaos. Like it was a really cool experience. And then you trying to work yourself up. I don't even know how I did. I think I was like 20th or something in class, but it was a great time. Doesn't matter.
And you ended up with a gold medal.
Yeah. And it was cool getting that. And yeah.
I mean, it goes to show your versatility as a rider. You go from motocross to Baja to racing 6 days, gold medal in 6 days. Like, it's a pretty insane resume that you're working with.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique path I've taken, I think. You know, not too many people have stuck with it as long as I have and just been interested in all different types of racing, I guess.
What makes your path unique or different? I
don't know. You know, it's just kind of a strange one, you know, like just the different array of events that I've attended. And I mean, I've done some enduro crosses and stuff like that, but never nothing notable. The only thing I've really done great is the Baja stuff and maybe a few endurance races north of the border too. So, but yeah, the path is, you know, I started with nothing, you know, never had any money. So that was cool. But there's a lot of guys that do that. So it's not super unique.
But it's something that you can take with you. And it's like, you know, no matter how your career ends or continues or anything like that, one thing that you have is like, hey, I've worked for this. I worked to get to this point. I didn't have, you know, all this support. I didn't have, I mean, you had support from your parents, but you didn't have like this factory support level thing. No. You worked all the way for everything that you had.
Yeah, it was always one bike, you know, that some of the kids you see have practice bike and a race bike and all this stuff, you know. But yeah, no, it was real low budget program always. And kind of still. Yeah, for sure. Homegrown. And yeah, I just got real lucky getting hooked up with Mark, and he's a way better talker than I am. So he ended up getting good sponsors. In the last few years of racing Baja, we had all the ingredients, all the good stuff. Still did it on a pretty low budget, but you know, it looked real good, and we had the equipment we needed, and, you know, we were ready to go.
Well, the less money that you spend, the more money you get to keep.
I guess so, yeah, for sure.
So,
but Baja, yeah, I don't think anybody's getting rich off of racing Baja on a bike for sure. So
it is crazy, like, that you can go win the Baja 100 years in a row, and you're not, like, a millionaire. Like, you deserve to be a millionaire.
Yeah, I agree with that one. But yeah, it's just...
You put your life on the line for that many hours, for that long, and you win that many races.
Yeah.
You should be a millionaire now.
Must not be very marketable.
Well, that's another thing. That's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
Is like learning how to market that.
Yeah, and we're lucky now with Starlink and everything. It's really accessible now. You know, everybody's got a phone and stuff. So it is... Baja racing kind of seems like it has a brighter future than... It kind of was... been about the same all through the 90s, early 2000s, up until like the internet and phones like was available out in the middle of the desert. So kind of you know, might be some more opportunities with more coverage.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, just off-road in general, because I mean the hardest part about off-road is it's terrible spectating.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
I mean, hard enduro, that's why I do what I do with the hard enduro series, because I'm trying to bring the sport to the people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and you're doing a good job because you can actually follow the top riders through the section, and that's a really cool thing you got going on.
I mean, it's fun and I enjoy it, so it works, but you know, like you're saying, like with phones and GoPros and Starlink and internet, you know, the sport is going to be more marketable.
Yeah, for sure. And it's so accessible. Like I could post something for free on my Instagram, and you know, podcasts and stuff are now popular. Like people can actually hear what goes on more, you know, like you could have 5 more Baja racers, and that would help see all their perspectives of it. Cause it's, you know, it's so many dimensions to it. And, you could educate the whole world just with your podcast on this sport.
Totally. You can share your knowledge, and, you know, it makes it feel like there's more purpose behind doing what you're doing now. Cause it's like, now I get to pursue this thing that I love, and then I'll share that knowledge with people that love the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, and hopefully we can make some people's lives better, and we can have fun. And then there's like a record of of it as well. That's what I love about YouTube.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, we could, you can kind of memorialize your races and your career.
Yeah.
It's like your own little TV channel.
Yep. It's just time stamped and there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Forever.
Exactly.
Pretty cool. Yeah. You had me kind of looking up a few old races on YouTube, and there was actually way more on there than I thought. I hadn't looked up my name.
There's
really.
some good stuff in there.
That was pretty cool. So I'm glad. I rode for Robbie Bell a couple of those years, and he had me wear a GoPro, and he posted it.
He got it.
Yeah, and it was some cool stuff.
Dude, even that's a lot of your stuff is like older stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like what year is that? Like
there was a lot of like 15, 16.
15, 16
so
stuff.
Almost 10 years ago now. Yeah.
10 years ago, the cameras were shit.
Yeah.
Compared to they are now.
Definitely.
I mean, sick that we had them, and at the time it was good shit.
Yeah.
But now, dude, you run the newest GoPro or there's a bunch of different brands that make them now, and they're all like almost just as good, I think.
Yeah.
But dude, with the stabilization and the resolution and everything, it's just insane. It's almost like virtual reality.
Yeah. No, it's like you're there. So
it's insane.
Yeah, and it's so easy to just put it on the internet and everybody can see it.
Yep.
And YouTube does pay people, so that
Yep.
gives them incentive to do it. So
Yep.
It doesn't matter what it is. If it's got views, you can probably get paid and
Yep.
put advertisements on it. So
Yep.
really cool system.
It is.
We're lucky to be alive at this time.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
And get to like capitalize on the momentum built from like all the terra firma, steel roots, crusty demon stuff.
Yeah, it's just been a big wave building.
It's a huge wave, and then we're just like a product of that, and then now we're gonna put out our wave of content.
Yeah, it's super cool stuff.
And inspire the next generation, hopefully.
Yeah, and like a lot of the trophy trucks and stuff now have that star stream in them. So they have a Starlink, and you can watch the races live as they're going on. So you can like say a score race, you can watch the tracker. You can see all the little dots on the course, whatever. Sometimes they don't update grade or whatever. And you can see like, oh, they're all stacked in. Okay, I'm going to go to this guy's star stream. And, oh, yeah, it is a bottleneck. Or there is a car rolled over. Or he's crashed. Or you can kind of.
So you can tap into the vehicle's onboard camera system.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them too. Like
almost
an overwhelming amount now. Like at Nora, I watched, you were talking about Larry Ragland. I watched him drive the Riviera truck live. Like I'm sitting there driving a tractor. I was like looking like, wow, like that's so cool. I can watch Larry Ragland wheel out of Loretto over the, like insane in the Riviera truck, one of the coolest trucks ever made,
Watching history.
Yeah. And you can just watch it live and then it gets posted later.
Speaking of Larry Ragland, who are some of your mentors that have really helped you along the way with your off-road career?
Well, people get them confused a lot, Larry Ragland and Larry Rossler, but Larry Rossler has helped me a lot, I would say. I just happened to meet him as I was getting into off-road dirt biking, and happened to kind of be local to him, and he let me come ride with him a few times and kind of just observe, and I still stick to all those principles today. So that was it's really cool that he helped me, and then he's kind of helping me in the transition to cars now. So it's he's helping me a lot. I shouldn't say kind of helping me. He's helping me a lot. So yeah, that I would say that's the biggest help I've had and influence and all that. And then there's been a ton of people that have here and there helped me too. Like I've mentioned Jeff Kaplan, Tim Morton, and he's had me come down on his tours, and he's raced Baja forever and let me sweep on his tours and all that stuff. So super good guy to learn from. Just little things from all those guys you can learn if you have an open mind and you don't think you know anything. Just absorb it.
Dump your cup out before you hang out with them so you can fill it back up.
Yeah, definitely.
It's so true.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of those guys. Just you'll be in the middle of nowhere at a Baja race, and you're at some little hotel in Valley Trinidad, and I've been lucky to stay next to Rob McEachran a few times, and we're having breakfast at the same time. You get to talk to him and see his perspective on stuff. And,
so sick.
You never know who's going to walk through the door when you're down there, so.
Or anywhere.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it's been cool.
What's some of the biggest lessons that you've learned from these guys? Because I feel like, think about the compound effect of the knowledge and wisdom and experience that you're going to have by the time you're 40 and then 50 and then 60. And then you got a guy like Larry Ragland, 82.
Yeah.
Think how much knowledge and experience that guy has. What is like the number one thing that you're able to absorb from these guys? And like what category? Is it like mindset? Is it physical health? Is it eyesight? Is it how to read terrain?
All of those really, but I think just the way they approach the thing. So I remember testing for that 23 1000. I was on Cade McCachran's team, and we're testing the cars, trying to get them dialed in before the race. And Rob, Caden's dad, was there, one of the best Baja racers ever, and short course. He's one of the best ever at racing four wheels. And I noticed, I'm like, man, this guy's just so good at asking questions. It's so. I was so impressed by the way
he communicated.
And how he could ask the right question at the right time to the right guy. And he already had a lot of knowledge, but he'd just be like, all right, tell me about this, or is this an option, or it's just.
Can you give me an example?
Just the basic idea. I think we were testing suspension, and I think the car felt a little bit skatey in a certain scenario. Like it was a little bit, could be in better control. So he's asking what the caster numbers are on the car. It's a front end geometry, like very, in-depth stuff. So he's like asking that.
Caster numbers?
Yeah, like the degree of caster that's in the car, or
what is the degree of caster? What is that?
So that basically will make like stability.
Is that like how your tires are angled?
No, there's camber is like that.
Okay.
But caster is like, it's like the wheel of a shopping cart. It's like super unstable this way, but it's super stable the other way.
Yes.
So it's like, but you give up in like responsiveness and corners.
It's like rake.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
It would be like the equivalent to like rake or offset.
Yeah, type of deal. Yeah.
Sort
of.
And
I'm no expert, by the way, but yeah, I'm learning. I'm trying to learn.
You're in that process.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, but yeah, stuff like that. Like just
he's just
the way
like infinitely curious about the machine.
Yeah, the way you approach the engineers and how to work with those types of guys and how they're thinking and how to communicate to them.
Right.
It's a huge deal. Like,
right.
You could be the best rider there is, but if you can test good and you can know how to, ask the correct question and get what you need from the person you're asking, whether it's a tire guy or a suspension guy, because there's also a lot of questions with that. We're running the live valve suspension in the cars, so it's adjusting, I think, a couple hundred times a second or something crazy. So
like asking the right questions, and then based on how the engineers communicate with you, learning how to articulate your next question or your next thought in their language.
It's just like an approach, like a general approach is what you learn from the best guys. And there's no replacing the experience they have. Like you got to go get your experience and do it. But if you can be around those guys and kind of see pieces of the puzzle, I want to be like that. I need to learn how to talk like that.
Right.
Yeah. So there's a lot to it.
It's amazing. You look at these guys that are high performers, and they're all like, usually they're not in like a reactionary mind space where like if the car's not working right, they don't get mad. They don't get frustrated that the car is not working right. Mm-hmm. Or if its car's a little skatey, they just like, hey, what are your caster numbers? Like, let's get curious about this thing and non-emotional and non-objective about it. And let's see if we can work through this together.
It's a puzzle. Yeah.
It's a puzzle.
Yeah.
And that just seems to be like a common theme among high performers.
Yeah. And then and then experience comes into play, and it just gets exponential. You just get smarter and more experience, and you've set up 10 cars and you've set up 20 cars, and it just keeps going.
It seems like the being able to communicate is like one of the most important things in life and motorsport success.
Yeah, I think so. And talking to the right people the right way, and learning correctly and from the right people. There's communication is a big deal for sure.
Totally.
But at the end of the day, you got to go fast.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like, yeah, I need to learn how to communicate well. I need to learn how to, be friends and also professional with my peers and the people around me and be a part of this common mission of winning this race. And I need to do all these things right. I need to take care of my body, but I also need to pin it. I also need to go fast.
Yeah, got to be in shape. Got to be ready
sharp.
for that. Yeah. So there's a lot going on. It's hard, but I think experience, and just trying a lot and failing a lot keeps you getting better.
And reflecting on your prior behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Like this worked. When I listened to this guy and I was patient, this worked. Or when I got mad and I was like, hey, this car is not working right.
Yeah.
That didn't work.
Yeah.
And you just keep logging that experience. And then by the time you're our age or older or younger, if you're smart, you're just a more refined version of who you want to be.
It just keeps getting more refined every year.
So
cool.
This 4-wheel journey, what does this look like for you? Like, what do you want to do?
So to me, there's nothing cooler than racing Baja in a roll cage right now. Like what's your YouTube algorithm feeding you? Yeah. It's just, I'm watching everything Baja related. A lot of locals put they'll sit in a corner and film every car that goes through. So I'm watching all those.
Oh.
I'm watching how everybody does it. And look at that car. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I watch, it's like, so I'm obsessed with it. All I want to do is be a race car driver right now. I feel like it's a good time for me to get off the bike, especially in the Baja races. I'm healthy still. I've made it through. I've won way more races than I ever thought I would. I never even thought I'd win one when I started. Not even a chance. So,
And you even had a year off, and then you came back and won it again in 24.
Yeah, that was cool.
And it's like, boom, cherry on top. Okay.
Yeah, 24 was cool because I knew it was going to be my last year on the bike, and we ended up racing the whole series again for the first time in a while for the SLR team. So I got to race with Tyler Lynn, like all these young guys that are great, and kind of mentor them a little bit, kind of give back, and whether they listen to me or not, that's up to them. But not saying I know that much, but I can kind of point them in the right direction, try and have them not make the mistakes that I made and save them some time. And Tyler really picked up on everything real quick, so it was really fun racing with him. We had a little bad situation at the San Felipe 250, and then the 500 we didn't win. So it was a technicality on the 500. It was a penalty, which you got to abide by the rules. The only result that matters is what's there officially a couple days later.
Right.
So we didn't have our transponder tracker or Speaker tracker at the finish line because when Tyler crashed, his fanny pack buckle broke, and like it just in a super remote section. It was just nobody's fault.
What a gut punch.
Yeah, but we had the race won, and I actually pushed it across the finish line because we had a problem with the bike at the end. It was an electrical problem, but crazy. We still had won by like a minute or something, so we were super hungry after that. We're like, dude, we didn't win 2 races in a row. Like, this is bad. So I was extremely motivated. So we came back and we ended up winning the 400, and I was racing a bunch of SRAs and trying to race a bunch during the summertime because we're building for the 1,000. And then I got the opportunity from Johnny Campbell to race with Preston, his son, at Vegas to Reno. That was a really cool opportunity. And then right after that, so we won that overall motorcycle, and then the 400 came, and me and Tyler, I think it was just me and Tyler. Maybe somebody else rode with us, but it might have just been me and Tyler at the 400, and we won. And then 24-hour comes along, and it's our Baja 1000 team. It's Tyler Lynn, Ryan Surratt, and Brandon Prieto, and myself, and we ended up winning the 24-hour at Glen Helen, which is something I've always wanted to do. So that was cool. And so the knife's just getting sharper.
Check that one off the list.
Yeah, and then we did I think me and Preston did the California 300, got a win there. It was a unlimited race in Barstow, super cool race. And so the knife was just getting sharper, and then we show up to the 1,000, and it was pretty interesting. I was going to do the first part of the race. And then I get a call from Polaris and they're like, hey, we want you to race the 1,000. And I'm like, oh, sorry, I'm committed to Mark. And I called Mark and I'm like, hey, what do you think? I was like, I can get off when I get off the bike, I can get in the car if you want, like kind of joking. And Craig, the Polaris team owner, he was like, yeah, that might work. And I was just like, oh, geez. So I call Mark and I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? He's like, I know how bad you want to switch to 4 wheels. Like, we can adjust the race plan so it works with the car.
No way.
Yeah. So at this last 1,000, I raced both. And
really?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
You're allowed to do that.
Yeah, you can enter in whatever you want. Yeah. So we kept it really quiet. It's hard to do. So now I'm pre-running for both. And then the sections, so we changed my section to the San Felipe section on the bike. That mile, like, I don't know. It's like the final third of the race generally, or the third quarter or something like that. So
you rode.
So I rode a 200-mile section, hours before the car gets there. And then we go on to win that. And then I didn't go to the finish line. I went down back to Gonzaga Bay to get in the race car, the Pro R. So Craig Scanlon drove the start all the way down to there. And then I got in the car and it's like late, like it's well into the night. And I got off the bike at like 3 p.m. So we drove, I think it's a few hours, down from the top of the race course all the way down to like, through San Felipe, all that. So I get in the car, gonna do that whole bike section again. And then I got to go from there to the finish. Like I'm just doing the second half of the race at this point. So
in the car.
Yeah. So gnarly, like, yeah, I'm like, all right, I'm ready. I can do it. I was good. I had a good ride, didn't crash, nothing. Got off the bike, had a great ride. Pulled time on second place, everything good. And get down there. And we ended up having some car issues that set us back. We actually ended up DNFing the car, but it wasn't for lack of effort. Those things happen more in the car than the bike. The bikes are pretty much indestructible. Like I said, there's a ton of moving parts in the car, but it was a cool thing to race 2 classes.
That is cool.
At the Baja 1000.
It would have been really cherry if you could have won it.
Yeah. No, I was hoping because I had just pre-ran that section. I rode it.
So gangster.
Yeah. But even to get a finish, like the car was in a pretty good spot when it got to me, like Craig did great. And it just, lower ball joint broke and it was just a weird deal. But
wow.
Yeah, it was a pretty dang cool experience.
Props to Mark for like supporting that.
Yeah, that was very cool of him. Like, really was, because 2 different manufacturers, like all kinds of stuff.
Well, it would be easy to be like it would be easy from like a team manager position to be like, no, bro, like we need you focused on winning.
It would be, I think if I was a team manager, I would just said, are you kidding me? Like,
yeah,
of course not. So that's why I said would ask Mark, and he was like, yeah. And I'm like, all right, you guys need to talk. So they talked and worked some stuff out.
Wow.
It worked out, and I got to pre-run in the car and the bike, and it was cool.
Well, and those opportunities don't come by a lot, so you have to take them if you can.
Yep.
Like that opportunity to drive that truck. Like if you said no, that call might not come again.
Exactly. So that kind of set me up for this year to where I have an opportunity to race with the team now. Me and a couple other guys are unpaid drivers. We're just not fully on the team, but we're contracted with them to do all the races. And I've gone to all the other races that I've not been racing to learn. So it's just a big transitioning learning year for me. So I did race the 250 this year and had a good run going, but there was some issues there, but I'll be at the 500.
What excites you most about your transition to 4 wheels?
It's just fun. There's so many things to learn. And I'm so motivated to win in the car because it's just a whole new challenge, So, yeah, it's just the coolest thing ever. Like even years ago, I was like, man, I'd love to race cars down here. It's the ultimate, So, and then we're lucky, like similar to motorcycles, Polaris sells a product. Trophy trucks, they're not really selling a product to the general public. So it's very similar to the motorcycle thing, how it all works. So I fit right in, going on to the team. Hopefully next year I get a full-time spot on that team and I can really show what I can do at, some stateside races and stuff like that too. But this is a good learning year. It's a super good opportunity.
That's sick.
Yeah, it's cool.
So in the meantime, you're at the ranch. Do you have a little turn track set up at the ranch with your razor?
Yeah. So I bought a Pro R to get some practice in. So I've got
You had to buy it yourself. They won't give you one.
Well, they do let me use a Team 1 to pre-run in, but yeah, that's only for pre-running at the races, like all business.
So they don't expect you to practice.
I guess it's not really as much of a thing in the car thing, but my plan is to take the moto approach, the more disciplined, the more pre-running, the more practicing approach and bring it to racing these Polaris razors. And I think it's going to benefit me a lot. And I did put my money where my mouth is and bought my own car, because I'm not going to race one of these cars and not own one and work on it and change the oil and, just
learn how to take the wheel off and work on shit, break something, fix it.
Yeah. Familiarize yourself with the vehicle, and it's sitting in my garage 24/7 and I'm looking at it and I'm tinkering on it, and I take it down to Placer City as much as I can. And I do have a track at the house, a little one, but just helps you just get familiar with the car.
Shing.
Yeah.
Shing.
Yeah.
Shing.
Exactly. Every minute you're driving is, for me, it's a real crucial time to get as much seat time as I can.
When you don't need to be, all the time, you don't need to be like hammering out motos, beating your car up, riding through rocks. You know what I mean? You can just learn how the car works. You can set up a course on like probably mild terrain where it's not going to beat your car up.
Yeah, just
and it's all about
roads.
timing and angles and coming into the corner at the right speed so that you have the throttle to burp, 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 burp throughout the corner rather than diving into the corner and then having to use all your power on the exit.
Exactly.
Like these fundamentals can be practiced on mild terrain, I imagine.
A big thing to cars, to racing cars, is you're like threading the needle all day. It's like really similar to riding single track on a dirt bike, because you're taking up the whole road. So your reaction times and all that have to be real similar to riding single track on a dirt bike. It really crosses over.
And how are you practicing that?
In the car, just having skinny roads to drive and threading the rocks, putting rocks down and getting them real close to the sides of the car and going through there fast, and setting up for the corners correctly, and just threading the needle, knowing where your tires feel. Maybe I'll get a couple flats practicing, learning how to get close to rocks and stuff like that. But so far it's been good. It's just I've been taking it slow and just learning.
Is your practice car the same width as the one that you're going to be racing?
Yeah, it's the same width and wheelbase
as a stock one, or did you aftermarket stuff?
No, mine's pretty stock. They're really good stock now. It's like
wow.
It's actually amazing how good they are stock and how reliable they are and how far they go.
And it makes your job better because, like you said, now you have the stock car and you can go practice, and then you can actually, because if you were practicing on a stock one and then you went and did the race one and the wheel stuck out another 3 inches, that would be a huge difference.
You wouldn't be calibrated.
You would not be calibrated.
Yeah, no, I've got the same tires we race on, and I put race seats, and that's all I've done to my car, and it's amazing. I put a spare on it. And a cooler rack, but that's about it.
And it's all automatic, right? There's no clutch.
It's a belt driven, CVT deal.
Just hit the gas and go.
It's got low range and high range. Like if you rock crawl, you want to put it in low range. You don't want to burn the belt up, but yeah, they're so easy to drive. It's amazing what Polaris has come up with for a lot of, they've had razors out for a long time now, but yeah, this iteration is ridiculous.
They're just getting better and better and better.
Yeah. And it has the live valve that they're kind of like how the race cars have. They're like you go into a corner and it kind of holds up. It'll add compression over here. And
wow.
Yeah. Certain modes will have like
so that
more
doesn't
rebound.
Tilt so much.
Yep. And it works with the sway bars and stuff like that. And then like you'll get like a chattery road you'll be accelerating on. It'll like loosen up the rebound and like get good traction type of deal. So
wow,
super cool stuff. Yeah.
And why don't we have that on dirt bikes?
I don't know. I know they've tried it on mountain bikes and it wasn't really a super big thing. But even if you just had another part of the live valve is the pucker button. You use the red button on the steering wheel that gives you full compression. So you jump off something or you're going to hit a G out, you just press that.
Like, oh fuck.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool to have on a dirt bike, or use it on the face of a jump or something.
Or like in those G outs that we were hitting today,
Yeah.
if you're coming down a hill and you see a G out, hit the red button, slam the G out,
Yeah,
let the button go, blah, blah, back to soft suspension.
you could have good traction everywhere else and compliant bike. Yeah, that would be cool. And they are making a kit for like King off-road shocks. They're putting like some sort of some aftermarket companies putting like a live valve type deal in their reservoir. So, or in other shock manufacturers. I don't know if it's King, but yeah, it's I feel like that could be done on a dirt bike. Just close the compression, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, kind of like a mountain bike.
Come on, dirt bike industry. We can put a man on the moon. Can we get live valve suspensions on our dirt bike?
Yeah, or just a pucker button.
Or just a pucker button.
Yeah.
I'll settle for a pucker button. It would help so much.
Yeah. Yeah. And on the car, you click it once and it goes for 3 seconds, and you could double click it and it just locks it out. So I don't really lock it out very much. But
I was going to say.
it's cool. But if you're going to hit like a series of like supercross style bumps, just double click.
If you're trying to skim them.
Yeah. Crazy situation.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
It's amazing that if you're the general public is going to buy a razor over a dirt bike. There's more people buying razors than there are dirt bikes. So the innovation and technology and engineering resources gets put into that.
Yeah. And with that team that I'm on, I get to talk to a lot of the engineers and stuff. And that's kind of like a part of the team. It's kind of a development thing, product development, durability tests, stuff like that. So it's just been super cool to be involved with all those guys.
They're all American?
They're all American. They're all from Minnesota mostly, and just regular dudes. You would never even know it that they're that smart.
And what's their approach to innovating this machine?
The same as most OEMs, I would think. They're just trying to make it better, and they've got a really good platform right now. It's going to be hard to improve what they've got, and they've worked super hard on it. But yeah, they're making, now they sell a race car like the one I race. They make like 30 a year. It's kind of like the KTM rally bike thing. You can get them, but you kind of got to know somebody, or as of right now, there's limited quantities available. So they just go to like real racers right now. But yeah, if KTM made a bunch of rally bikes, you'd see them all over the place, but they're so hard to get. But so they're making like a race specific car that's really cool. And they also have the regular Pro R. So they're developing both of them.
Wow.
And like an aftermarket kind of parts line for them.
Like a hard parts.
Yeah. But yeah, really good stuff like carbon fiber drive shafts and all kinds of cool stuff.
Carbon fiber drive shafts?
Yeah, or at least they look carbon fiber. Right? That might not be the correct term.
They put a carbon fiber sticker on that thing for sure.
No, it's they've got some cool stuff going on in there.
Wow.
And they're making they're like OEM upgrade, like GYTR or HRC or stuff like that.
Yep.
Pretty cool stuff.
That is so cool. Fascinating how different how same and different the car thing is to dirt bikes.
Yeah, and that's just the UTV thing. It's not even the full blown car thing, but it's UTV.
But it's like better.
It's better in my opinion.
I mean,
it's really cool.
What are you gonna do? Come up with $1 million to because those trophy trucks are $1 million, right?
They're I think $1.5 million
they're
for
up
like
to,
for the new best latest
they're
and
up
greatest.
to $1.5 million now.
Yeah.
They used to be $1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are
Who's
you
gonna
gonna
pay for that?
Yeah. And then I mean there's spec trucks that are really cool, and those are 2-wheel drive, and those are $500,000 or a little more maybe for a new one. But there's a lot of classes. Let's put it that way. But there's not a lot of classes that have a product to sell, and there's definitely not as many classes that are as competitive.
Well, and it's sick to have any type of manufacturer involvement at all, because like the last time that any manufacturer was involved was when like Larry Ragland was driving for Ford for the Chevy.
Yeah.
I mean, but there's no other truck manufacturers involved in the trophy truck class, right?
Yeah, in the 90s, I think Christopher Polvardi has a Ford deal, but it's not like
it's like a
full factory team. It's just he has a sponsorship through Ford. But yeah, like the 90s, Chevy, Toyota, Dodge with Walker Evans, Toyota Ivan Stewart, Chevy with Larry Ragland, and then they had the Ford Rough Riders program, which was sick. They had a car in each class. That was like that's why kind of I think 90s were like the golden era
The
of
heyday.
off-road. Yeah, and then the Toyota program shut off in 2000, right after the Baja 2000, and that stuff I kind of all faded out. So it's kind of guys with money and bringing in sponsors and stuff like that now. So
Why do you think that all the manufacturers pulled out?
probably because the trucks aren't even like there's not one stock part in them. The spec trucks all run a sealed Chevy engine. I think LS6 or something like that. So Chevy could do something there maybe, but it's not like you're tricking anyone. That's not a Ford Raptor,
Right.
you know. So it's a handmade machine. But in the 90s they were kind of, you know, pretty close. There was a lot of one-off machines then too, but they were good at marketing it and made them look like the current truck. And yeah,
That's why it's so perfect that Polaris is involved.
yeah,
Because they're actually selling.
selling a lot of them, and they're really good. And
It's almost scary how good they are.
It is scary. Yeah, I mean they're very like we pre-run with the stock cages now. The cages are beefy, but I think minimal stuff, and it's pretty much ready to race.
I mean, it's scary that the general public can go buy one of those.
Yeah,
the same way it's scary that they can go buy an R1
Yeah, or a 450 motocross
or a
bike.
450 motocrosser.
Yeah, it is insane, but
It's insane.
yeah, but I think the side-by-side thing is another level because you could sit there and you can be going 90 miles an hour pretty quick.
And they feel like they're invincible, which they basically are until they're not.
Yeah,
and then it's full disaster.
Yeah, no, it's intense. Like if you get into a bad situation, you can't pull the front wheel up, or you can't do the things you do on a motorcycle to kind of save yourself.
Right.
Yeah, or get away from. You're just in this thing.
It's so much different. There's no manipulation. It's all just about the inputs and the controls.
Yeah, it's definitely that's the learning curve, I think, to get off of a dirt bike and get onto a car. You're in it, like you're strapped in. You can't do a wheelie.
You ever pull on that steering wheel, try to get that front end to come up?
Probably have, yeah.
Oh, this doesn't do anything. I forgot.
Yeah, but yeah, that's the biggest learning curve, I think.
That's so cool.
Yeah, but you can. Yeah, dirt bikes are cool. You can ride a crappy bike that's set up crappy. You could probably ride it pretty damn good if you had to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not that this is a good example of what you just said, but take Cody Webb, for example. He's riding a YZ250 motocross bike that he's altered and manipulated and massaged into an enduro bike in the most hardest form of enduro that you can do.
Yeah.
And he's still competitive on it.
Winning races, yeah.
I couldn't ride that bike the same way that he could.
Really?
No way.
That's wild. Yeah, the European guys have really.
Well, he can just ride. I mean, he could also probably ride a TTR 125 the same way nobody could.
That's true. Yeah, Cody's another level.
He's so gnarly.
But it's like playing a guitar, right? You know,
Yep.
like I couldn't do that to save my life, but
A good guitarist could play a shitty guitar well.
yeah. So some people are just special.
Some people are special.
Yeah, but yeah, it's cool to see Yamaha doing that with him.
Best bike you've ever ridden?
450X Honda. Come on. No,
Come on now.
The most recent iteration is really good. You know, I really liked our 2018 Baja 500 bike.
What'd you like about it?
I could just hit anything. It was the first gen X. I think they're a little slower, not much, but a little bit, and they have a carburetor, so it's not as hard of a hit. And the thing just, you could just go. You know, it just ride it for miles, and it was a little more comfortable. But there's a lot to be said for the new bike. That's great too. But that bike in particular, that one, I remember just, man, amazing machine.
Sometimes they just are good.
Yep.
Sometimes there's like the bike. Sometimes even within the same year, you'll get one that's better than the other. Have you ever experienced that?
Yeah, definitely. No two bikes are exactly the same, but we've got it kind of down to a science with Bob at SD Powerhouse, and he can crank them out pretty close.
Well, dude, you were like torquing your fork bolts this morning. I was like, what are you doing, bro? You're like, torquing my fork bolts.
It's a big deal.
Why? You're like, it makes a big difference. We tested it. I'm like, dude, I haven't torqued a bolt in like 10 years probably.
Yeah, you should torque your whole bike.
Should I?
Yeah, to manufacturer specs.
Really?
Yeah, definitely.
It makes that big of a difference?
Especially in the front end, yeah.
I thought like tight was tight.
No, there's flex and you tighten a bolt too much, you're stretching things, you're pulling on stuff that doesn't need to. There's a lot to it, I think. I mean, I'm not smart, but I can feel if my torque, I can feel that.
Really?
Especially going across the desert, you can really get a good feel, and long days on the bike and stuff like that.
So if the fork bolts are too tight, the pinch bolts on the axle, what do you feel?
It's going to be like a little more feedback in the front. I mean, we're talking little, but yes.
A little more harsh?
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, like pinch bolts on the forks, people are pretty normally people torque those or leave the lower ones a little looser.
Not me.
Yeah, you should. Well, your type of riding, it's not going to be as much as a long distance desert race, but you would benefit from it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe for 6 days I'll bring the torque wrench.
Yeah, definitely. Well, NIC's a torque wrench. It'd be good.
I'll send you a picture of me torquing my fork bolts.
Yeah. Yeah. I got the digital one. Big investment, but it's kind of fun, Pretty big deal.
Well, you're like that. You're like particular about your shit too, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a little weird.
Weird?
Yeah. I guess. Yeah.
Self-proclaimed or?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm just kind of pretty detail oriented on some things like that. Yeah. More so than others.
Gets distracted easily, but very detail oriented for things that he cares about.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like your truck.
Yeah. Yeah, I like trucks a lot.
Dude, I like your truck. It's got a nice stance to it.
Yeah.
2016.
Yeah, no, I got a couple months ago.
Gas motor.
Yeah, no diesels for me. It's overrated.
Aluminum wheels.
Yeah, I got Method wheels on there. They're a team sponsor. BFG tires. Had to buy them all.
What size? What they're a team sponsor?
Yeah,
come on, boys. Let's hook this guy up.
Hey, fake it till you make it.
This guy's won about Baja 100 times. Let's give this guy some free shit.
No, it's the best stuff. Like that's what's cool about the team I'm on right now is they literally run all the best stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Did you like level your truck at all, or is it just?
So I basically the rear is completely stock, but just has shocks, and then the front I put a little bit longer spring on and made it to where it can fit 37s. So then I can go more places with it. But yeah, it's a fine line because then anything bigger, I'd probably have to re-gear the truck and stuff. But I like to off-road a lot.
Does it drive pretty smooth?
Yeah, it's great. Cruises right along. Goes good, but gets horrible fuel mileage.
Does it?
Yeah, it's like 10. But what doesn't get like 10, really?
My Sprinter van.
Yeah. But it breaks down if you look at it wrong. So
kind of.
Yeah, those things are. I've seen a lot of them break in my life. I don't know, and they don't. The 4x4 ones are pretty cool though.
What's the ultimate setup then for like a moto guy? Because if you don't want to, I kind of agree with you. The Sprinter vans are great, but the curved body, you lose so much space on the inside.
Yeah, I know what the best is. Box vans are cool, right?
Yeah.
But they're not all terrain, and you can't really. I mean, you could camp in them good. They're not all terrain though. So, like a gas full size American pickup with a long bed with like a Callan, like the Callan campers. You see those? Like there's like a big box on the back, but there's a new one. I forgot what it's called. It's called like a far out camper. I think that's the sickest setup.
Like a truck bed camper?
Yeah, but it's big. The sides fold out. And it's bad.
Where do you put your bike though?
You can put 3 bikes in there and sleep next to them. 2 queen size beds.
All right, we'll look at it later.
It's a reliable truck. It's 4-wheel drive. Doesn't get.
What about just like an ordered van with like a box on it, like a box van?
Well, you have a real hard time getting across the Mexican border with those.
Why?
I don't know why. They don't like them coming across the border. They're kind of commercial. You can get a registered RV and do stuff, but McCarthy's have one that they haven't let come into Mexico yet, and they've tried a lot. Yeah, and it's cool. It's like
I know that one. That's kind of what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, and those get worse fuel mileage than a truck, and they'll get stuck if you go in the sand. So I don't know. I'm pretty opinionated on the whole truck thing.
It's good.
Yeah,
yeah, it's good.
I've had a lot of arguments with Sprinter guys.
Oh, really?
with
What do they
mainly
care?
just giving Mark Samuels shit about his
For
Sprinter.
driving a Sprinter.
Yeah, because you can't take it to remote pits in Baja and do stuff.
Because it can't handle the terrain.
Yeah, but most of they're great. I mean, most of the time they're fine.
For
And they make
90% of the shit.
Yeah, but
Well, the diesel emissions restrictions pisses me off so bad.
that's ridiculous. And then the engines aren't lasting very long because they're so choked up. And
Yeah.
and the fuel.
There's a couple things that make me mad. That, insurance, and like our medical system. That shit is annoying, dude.
Yeah, no, but paying every month for insurance is gnarly.
Yeah, and it just goes up, dude. Not shout out to Progressive Insurance, by the way. These guys, I got insurance on my van through Progressive.
Yeah.
I looked at my bill the other day. They raised my 6-month premium by $1,000.
Really?
Yeah, without even telling me.
Dang.
I called them. I'm like, what's going on? They're like, oh, it goes up and it goes down. I'm like, no.
Did you do something? You get a ticket or anything? There's got to be a reason, maybe.
Maybe I backed into somebody.
Yeah.
Maybe I backed into somebody at a stoplight or something, but it wasn't really my
I got to
fault.
defend Progressive because they're team sponsor for the Polaris team.
Tell them
and Honda.
I got a bone to pick with them.
Yeah, I'll get you a phone number.
Please do.
Direct line.
Well, after I work this, and this little poor old lady, on the other line, I'm just like, want to tear her head off, and I'm like, but it's not her decision.
It's not at all her decision.
It's not at all her
tough.
decision. Like, I'm not gonna be mean to her.
Yeah,
but she lowered it for me.
that's good. Good for her.
So she honored my old pricing. I'm like, yeah, that's what I thought.
That's crazy. You can make a phone call and actually make that happen. I mean, pretty sweet.
Yeah, negotiation tactics.
Yeah.
Just start
I
asking.
need to get better at
questions.
that. Yeah.
I learned a lot from reading a book called "Never Split the Difference."
Yeah.
But it's like this guy wrote it. His name is Chris Voss. He's like a FBI hostage negotiator.
He would know.
He's like, negotiate like your life depends on it, and just it's really all it really is like a communication book. Like you learn how to communicate, you learn how to listen better, stuff like that.
That's cool. Yeah.
It's a good book.
I could benefit from something like that.
I'll recommend it to you.
All right.
I'll send you the link on Amazon.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Well, my man. I mean, how much? Where are we at here? 2 hours?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's impressive.
Time flies, doesn't it?
Yeah. Almost as long as our ride we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost.
But yeah, no, it's cool. I appreciate you having me and just stoked to talk about racing. And I was a little burned out after last year, not riding and racing so much. I think my Ducati Enduro result reflected that. But yeah, so it's cool to get back out and ride with some good guys, you and Joe and Brandon.
That was fun.
That was a good group.
Dude, there's nothing
trails.
like having a good crew in a cool area and just motoing together through the boulders.
Yeah.
I mean, is there anything better?
No, it's hard to beat, and it's just it remotivated me. I'm gonna start riding a lot more.
Hell
again.
yeah.
I took a little break though, and it was probably the longest I've been without riding, other than like injury stuff. But yeah, pretty cool.
A little break though is good. Like I always feel like whenever I take a break, I come back and I'm like way more rejuvenated and excited about it.
Yeah, no, that's exactly how I feel today. Like for sure, I'm pumped, and my body's healed up a little bit. It's pretty sore after last year, so yeah, ready to ride.
Yeah, it's like burnout. That's how you avoid burnout, is like mixing in little breaks, I think.
Yeah.
Like
quality over quantity.
Yeah, totally, dude. When I was younger, I would just like hammer. Don't want to ride. I'm going to ride anyway. Get my motors in. And then like you kind of end up being burnt out, and then you kind of end up being flat on the bike. And then, and then that will come to a head if you keep on that path for a long time.
Yeah, you want to peak at the race.
Exactly.
And Kendall Norman, I think, was the one who told me this, but yeah, like always leave when you want to ride a little more. Just pack up and leave.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty big proponent of that.
Because then you can keep some of it for the next time.
Yeah, you're like wanting to get back out there. But if you
Yes.
just ride as far as you can that day and you're just beat and you like are wishing you 5 minutes before you get to the truck, you're like, I just want to get back. I feel like that's the wrong way to do it.
That's a really good piece of advice.
I feel like you should load up and leave, do your loop and leave, and want to come back tomorrow. So yeah, I think that was a solid one.
That's
I think
a
it was
really
Kendall who
good
told me
one.
that. Yeah,
Kendall Norman.
legend.
Shout out to Kendall.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you would tell yourself if you could go back in time and mentor your younger self? What's something that you would tell him?
Oof. Like in racing? Yeah.
Life, racing, the same?
I would say just I guess be patient during the races and try and not make any stupid decisions in the dust or anything like that, and just be real, just be as smooth as possible, and probably practice more and ride more. Yeah, I feel like I was pretty conservative, but I feel like I've made some pretty bad decisions in the dust a couple times.
Hanging it out a little too much.
Yeah, done that, but gotten away with it for the most part. But I think, just make better decisions.
Fuck, that's a tough one because to get by guys, you have to sometimes if you're in the dust, you have to hang it out to get by them.
Yeah, no, it's a fine line for sure. But yeah, I definitely probably could have trained off the bike more too. Would have been probably a good thing to do. I rode quite a bit of mountain bikes, but I think I should have trained a little more.
Like building your strength and stuff.
Yeah.
But you're like, you were telling me that you don't even cramp.
No, I don't think I've ever cramped. So it's just weird. Like maybe genetically that's a good thing.
And you're like a endurance guy. So like, what is it? How do you make it through these long races?
I think it's efficiency on the bike and staying calm. I stay pretty calm. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a good one. And I think it's just experience too, and just going from corner to corner or section to section calmly and just smooth and carry momentum. And I think I can ride a bike very efficiently because I think a lot of people are working a lot harder than me on a bike because
really?
I don't think I'm in the greatest shape and I can still ride pretty far.
And what is that? Is that you hitting good lines? Is that technique? Is that a mixture of both?
I think it's a mixture, but yeah, line choice is a big deal, like setting up for a corner way early and just driving through it instead of like working hard and trying to get the bike to pitch sideways on like a flat road. Just go out and use the berm out there and just rail. And then short shift maybe, so it's not ripping your arms out of the socket. Just keep a smooth power, and it translates to being easier on equipment too, which would be good transitioning to cars.
Yeah.
So yeah, saving the equipment, saving your body, it's kind of one and the same.
Yep. And your mind.
Yeah.
And what about like, how much do you think traditional motocross form applies to off-road?
I think the repetitiveness, if you start, like you've just gone around a million corners, you've repeated that. If you start on motocross, you've entered like so many races, like one class is 2 races in a day, and that's like 2 times lining up and all that. So
gate drops. Yeah,
it's a big deal because you see like these trophy truck guys in qualifying that haven't raced motorcycles. A lot of times they're getting smoked by Toby Price, who's raced a motorcycle a bunch of times, and I bet his heart rate's way down there, and he's just another special test or a moto.
He's not as consumed by the moment.
Yeah, you can see it in their faces sometimes. They're pretty nervous.
Deer in the headlights.
Yeah, you can tell. And having just gone through the motions of racing something so many times, I think that helps with or a desert racer doesn't race as much as a motocross guy. So I'm starting a Baja race and usually not very nervous, usually just like, okay, I'm at the starting line. Like it's not as intense. You can ease into it. So motocross is 100% intense from the gate drop. So it's kind of easier to manage a less intense race after racing motocross.
That makes sense.
And then just bike skills, and repetitiveness, like I was saying, not afraid to jump something, downside stuff, you learn all that just even subconsciously if you just race motocross.
Yep. Weighting the bike, unweighting the bike.
Yeah. Ruts, like all that stuff. It's hard to learn that stuff in the desert.
Angles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you do have to make a pass, don't hesitate. Even if it is in the middle of the desert or something, you know how to pass people. I'm catching this guy. I'm gonna make it happen right now and make it stick. And and defense too, guarding the inside or whatever. You kind of more thinking in that way if you've done a bunch of motocross.
It makes sense that a car guy wouldn't have that same level of experience.
Yeah,
he's never raced motocross.
He hasn't done it.
He's never had somebody breathing down his neck.
Yeah.
Or been in the reverse, breathing down the guy's neck in front of you, trying to get by him.
Yeah.
And like learning how to set up a pass and just handling those high stress situations.
Yeah. There is a lot of younger guys that are into cars now that are doing really well that did short course cars. So that's like motocross in a car. So pretty hard to beat that,
That's good experience.
Yeah. So that too, a couple of these young guys that are the best right now are short course guys. And a lot of them still do ride motos too. So it's kind of all complements itself.
It is crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like how a UFC fighter, like I listened to this podcast with one of the female UFC fighters, and she like started off as like a ballet dancer, and she's like, it is really like the foundation of my fighting. But when you think about it, it's like it's body movement, right? It's movement
awareness.
Yep, it's movement of the body. So when you talk about off-road, whether it's 4 wheels or 2 wheels, you're talking about learning how to use your vision, learning how to look ahead, learning how to see the angles that you're trying to hit, learning how to keep a vehicle together, learning how to compete, learning how to stay calm during the chaos, learning how to chase somebody down, learning how to read the dust, pick up on which way is the wind blowing. Okay, I'm going to go the opposite way. Just little stuff that you learn along the way.
1% at a time.
1% at a time. It all just accumulates to this mass like log of information that you have and experience.
Yeah. No, it's pretty crazy situation. And I don't know, why people do it, but it's cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty, it just seems to get people addicted and it becomes their lifestyle.
Well, it's like it's fun. And like I don't know, when I'm not racing, my mind is going 100 miles an hour. I'm thinking about so many different things. Things are going on. It's like very loud. Like my regular civilian life is loud. It feels loud for me. And racing motorcycle, that's peace. That's so quiet because there's nothing else going on.
That's true. Yeah. No, you have to focus for your own safety.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, if you go for even a trail ride, just ride some like nice single track, you better be sharp.
Yes.
You can kind of drift off a little going down a sound wash or something. So if you go put in a moto or something somewhere or go on an intense ride, it's super good.
You got to be on it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you come back to reality after that, maybe with a different attitude, different vision.
Totally.
Yeah, for sure.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, listen, man, it's been good.
All right.
Thanks so much for coming on and driving out here. The big effort, dude. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. I'm not the greatest social media presence or talker or anything, so it's kind of cool to get the call to come out here and talk to you. I know we've raced together a long time, so yeah, it's super cool to go with somebody comfortable with and everything. And,
totally.
Yeah, bitch it.
Well, dude, I've always admired you as a person and as a racer, and I just want to talk to you.
Cool. Well, that's awesome. I appreciate it.
So, my man, thanks a lot, and we'll have to do it again sometime.
Cool. Sounds good.
Cheers, brother.
Right on.